and a 2 and a 3, and we sail the ocean blue, and our saucy ship's a beauty. We are sober men and true, and attentive to our duty.
I'm called Little Buttercup, poor Little Buttercup, though I could never tell why.
What never, no never, what never, hardly ever, he's hardly ever sick at sea. For he himself has said it, and it's clearly to his credit that he is an Englishman. He remains an Englishman.
Just toast. I'm gonna think about it some.
FOTMs, do you know what time it is? It's toast time! Toast! Featuring Stu Stone, Cam Gordon, and Toronto Mike.
That's toast. Yeah, just toast.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto, where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto, like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1234 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Season 4 of Yes, We Are Open, the award-winning podcast from Moneris. Electronic Products Recycling Association. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. The Moment Lab. Brand marketing and strategy. PR. Advertising and production. You need the Moment Lab. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Tonight, joining me for our 16th episode of Toast is Bob Willette and Rob Preuss. Welcome back, Bob and Rob.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
Good evening.
Good, Bob. You sound like you had a
Yeah, I'm all right there. Sorry about that.
What an opening.
I just
Holy
ruined
smoke.
everything, yeah.
And you're the radio professional
Yep.
in this team here?
I am.
Bob, good to see
what I've been
you.
told.
We've seen each other since the last Toast.
Yes.
We'll talk about them now.
Yeah.
But Rob, you're here in person. This is not Zoom. Talk to me, Rob.
How's it going?
Talk to me while I fix the cameras I screwed up for live.torontomike.com. So.
Came up on Wednesday night to visit and be with my family and prepare for my gig at the Moonshine Cafe in Oakville, which is coming up on Thursday this week.
Excellent.
Once again. Last time I was here, it was February. It was the same thing.
That's right. And the night was sold out. Did the weather keep anybody away?
Not too many.
No, good for you. Because it was really bad weather.
Yeah, 2 months ago, right? And it was weird to think.
I got stuck, remember? And I needed Canada Kev to push me out of the snow.
That's right. You were there. And
I was there.
I have a return engagement, and it's going to be a whole new ball game, just like Bits and Bites.
Excellent.
Exciting. This is exciting. And I'm going to introduce, there's 2 new bodies in this room. There's a very special body and then a less exciting body. I won't tell you who is who. You'll have to find out for yourself. But before I introduce these people that have crashed our Toast party, I'm just going to play a little music in the background, and I'm hoping Rob Preuss will talk a little bit about this gentleman who passed away since our last recording of Toast. Maybe I'll be quiet. We'll listen for a moment, and then we shall discuss. Rob, do you recognize what I'm playing yet?
I do indeed.
What are we listening to?
We're listening to the theme from Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Soundtrack composed by Ryuichi Sakamoto. who passed away several weeks ago now. But they announced it
Well, since we last recorded.
yeah. He suffered with cancer for several years and several different bouts of cancer. But yeah, I think he was like 71 when he passed away.
Art is long, life is short.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the accolades have been pouring in, but I have to plead some ignorance. Like, I had to, this happens quite a bit, I'll say. Somebody passes away, and people I respect, like Rob Preuss and people like that, will tell me this is what an inspiration, what a genius. And then I'll go, oh, like, I missed this. Let me catch up, and then I'll dive in.
And he's been around, right? I mean, that's the thing, like for us in the as musicians, we knew him because he was involved with in the 80s. He was in a band called Yellow Magic Orchestra, which was a super cool Japanese electronic band. And then he did work with the band Japan from London as well. Then he started getting into his film scores and doing solo piano work, solo electronic music, and collaborating with so many people and soundtracks. And David Bowie was in this film with him. They were both in the film Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence as well. But yeah, just like an amazing body of work that he did. And maybe not known to people, who don't at first glance think, oh, who is he? But then you start reading the things he did, and it's mind-blowing.
Well, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Bob, did you have a similar experience to me? Are you like Rob? You're a real cool guy who was all over Ryoichi Sakamoto.
Have to admit, I also a blind spot in my life. I feel like I know a fair amount of movie scorers.
What about Japanese electronic artists?
Outside of some J-pop bands and K-pop bands, maybe, but no, definitely not.
They didn't
not
play
high
this
on
on Edge 102.
This was not played on any of my former radio stations, and there are a fair amount of them. So. Yeah.
You're gonna add it to the Kingston playlist.
There you go. Yeah, it'll play on. It'll definitely go in well with the stuff we play on Fresh Radio. Yes.
Well, it sounds gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
His variety of music is crazy though. Like this, and also this piece of music, he did so many versions of it. Like the one in the film has like drum machine and synthesizers and stuff. But then he orchestrated it with orchestras. Did it? I've heard classical guitarists play it, and because it's just such beautiful melodies, that he kept on sort of reinventing it.
Well, I'm gonna let this beautiful song take us home. Merry Christmas.
Are we done?
Thanks for coming,
Mr. Lawrence. Take us home. Yeah, take us home. And then I'm going to introduce our very special guest. So here's a few seconds. Rest in peace. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
Yes. Nice version you chose too.
It's a live version I found on YouTube.
Nice.
We should hear an applause here any moment, and not just in the room.
There you go.
That applause is for our very special guest. I was going to call him Intern Matt, but I'm not sure he likes that name, but we're going to find out in a moment. Welcome, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Hello. Bit of a tough act to follow there.
Look, you have to die to get that kind of respect from us. Okay?
Right?
Yeah. And we're not going to give him like a 2-minute.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. Matt, we introduced this concept last episode of Toast, our 15th episode. We said you were going to sort of be a shadow producer for this episode, and you even picked our theme for today. So let's begin by asking, why do you want to shadow the Toast crew? Like, what's your interest in all of this?
Well, a few weeks ago, I had went to an open house for college at Sheridan. I was kind of shambling through some things I might have found of interest, and there was this one that I just kind of stumbled upon, journalism, and I don't know why I went there. I was like, that seems interesting. I'll check it out. And I saw everything, saw the cameras, went backstage, not backstage, back in the studio room.
Sure.
And just starry eyes, just wow, just stuff like the audio equipment, the mics.
It was calling your name.
Yes, exactly.
You found your calling.
Exactly.
At such a young age.
A spur of the moment decision. Just, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Okay, and the closest thing to journalism is us.
I was gonna say you're in for a really shit time, kid. Because sorry, but there's no journalists in this room at all.
I do play one on the internet. Okay, have you ever heard an episode of Toronto Mic'd?
A total of like 20 minutes.
Okay, what 20 minutes? Is it last episode of Toast when we were talking about you?
Not even that. He couldn't even do that.
No.
These Gen Z kids, eh?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No, it was one before that. I believe. I decided just like to check one out just to see what the general thing was about.
Yeah, you want to know what you're getting yourself into here. Okay, so
who got you in here is the question.
You've been to 2.
Okay, I've been to
see,
2.
look, you're getting some advice here from your handler.
Mom's like, oh my God.
Is that your handler? Is that your PR representative? 'Cause,
Agent?
I can help you with
She
that.
found me on the street one day and just took me home. And
Okay,
I've been living with her
introduce
ever
the young woman you brought with you, and then we'll discuss why you chose this theme for us tonight.
since.
Who's with you today?
Her name is Dawn. She doesn't like when I call her that.
Obviously not.
I don't know this name, Dawn.
Yeah. Moose Grumpy.
Okay, yeah, Moose Grumpy. Okay, all right.
There's the sound. There you go.
Wow, there's a name we know. Okay, so you're son of Moose.
Son of Moose.
Yes, that is me.
Because we've already established your mom is the Moose, your dad is the Grumpy. Yes. Okay. The nodding doesn't work on a podcast, but we're going to work on that. Okay. So Matt, we were calling you Mac Grumpy, and then I heard possibly you don't love the nickname. It was growing on me to a point where I was thinking of you as Matt Grumpy. What, like, do you get, like, what happens, Bob? You're the radio guy. Do we give him a name, or does he pick his own name?
No. You don't get any choice. If you're,
Have you thought
if you're
about it?
into- I liked Doormat. I thought Doormat was pretty good. Whoever said that.
I said welcome, Matt.
Yeah, well,
But
no, I like Doormat.
Okay,
It's like much more, it brings, just brings you down a notch. Which, of course, you can't do that anymore.
What, you can't do that?
No, I mean, in a corporate environment, we don't even have interns anymore. I mean, so it's been a long time since I've had an unpaid intern at a radio station, like years, literally.
So what about intern Matt? Like, is that fair? Is that
I
safe?
like either Grumpy.
I'm Matt.
Either Matt Grumpy.
Wait, say it again, Rob.
I'm at.
I'm Matt. Not bad.
It's like intern Matt, but
intern
I'm at.
Like, you know what?
Mac.
Like a lowercase
Yeah,
I.
I.
And also the lowercase keeps him in his spot too.
Exactly.
So that's good.
I'm
Yeah.
at.
It's too Apple, okay?
That's true.
Don't want to give Apple anything.
Also, since he's going to be doing my laundry, what about laundromat?
Automat. Yeah, there's lots of good. Yeah.
Lots of options here.
Well,
What do you want, Matt? Why don't you tell us? Well, since I'm afraid of your mother, why don't you just tell us a nickname you want? What? You're surprised?
You have to say something. You can't just make faces.
Oh, yeah. How about
She
that?
thumbs up. She doesn't want to go on the air.
So Matt, are you okay if intern Matt? Is that safe, or do you want something more? I don't know.
I'm perfectly fine with intern Matt or even doormat. I just want
Doormat,
my degrading
doormat.
nickname to be like kind of more like different from Moose Grumpy.
Right. Oh, you want to?
Oh, you don't want to be tied to your mom because you're a nepo
nothing-
baby.
No,
Nepo baby.
Nepo baby. It's the reason I want it.
Nepo Matt.
Okay, well, let's
No
go
moose
with
Matt.
doormat, and we'll see if that
Doormat's good. That
sticks.
sticks,
I like that.
I do have to let you know that one of his favorite intern nicknames I told him about was one of the most hated out there is Chicken Shawarma.
Chicken shawarma. He was
He just said he didn't like shawarma. Like, he didn't like the food.
Right.
But he didn't know what it was. He was on the
This-
phone with his brother or something. On a
No,
This
but his
kid's,
dad. But shawarma's dad is like Lebanese.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that
But
was-
he didn't know it. He didn't. I mean, this is his story when he came over. Is that
yeah.
he actually had to ask his brother
Yeah,
what is
what it
shawarma.
was. They never had it.
Yeah, they didn't
This
know what
kid
it was.
pours ooze shawarma. So
Very
it would
greasy.
it would fit.
Okay, well that one's taken. That one's taken.
That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
problem, yeah.
So doormat, what made you choose? And then I have to thank your mom for something. Okay, doormat, what made you choose the theme you chose? And while you tell us why you chose it, you can tell the listenership what our theme is today.
Good question on why I chose it. I've seen a couple musicals, and by a couple I mean like 2 or 3. I'm not used to this microphone.
It's okay.
You're good.
It's okay. You're doing a great job.
Feel free to move it wherever you need it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be interesting because at the Sheridan Open House I was like looking at technical production before I went into my random journalism craze that's been ongoing. Learned about like a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, hey, I learned about that the other day. Why don't I have that be our theme? And that theme, for listeners who forget or just haven't heard it, is musical theater from I believe in the musicals in the 90s.
Okay, here's how it went down. You chose musical theater. We all thought it was too broad. right?
It was a little overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
So we decided it's musical theater, like musicals that played Toronto in the 1990s, because we'll discuss, and we got an expert on hand, Mr. Rob Preuss, who knows what he's talking about, and Bob's a big fan too. But we're going to talk like the 1990s was like this amazing time in Toronto for live theater for a variety of reasons, some of which are rather interesting when I dig into it. So we're going to get into like what was going on with this musical theater boom in the 90s in the city of Toronto, and we're all going to kick out jams from this period and these particular musicals. So I'm excited. I'm leaving my comfort zone because I actually found out very quickly I never went to any musicals. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah,
What?
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Okay. But
we
so,
have a drink first?
yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to thank Moose Grumpy, your mother, doormat. It's going to have to grow on me. Because Moose Grumpy, you were very kind. My son's birthday was yesterday, and you gifted him a Blue Jay ticket.
What?
That happened. And is that your way to butter me up so I'll be kind to your boy today?
No, it was a thank you for having my boy here today.
Okay. Well, you're welcome. And I'm excited to have Doormat here. And you can chime in anytime. That fourth mic will be open the whole episode. We're going to crack some Great Lakes beer here. Who's going to do it on the mic first?
We're gonna do it.
How old are you, Doormat? Are you over the age of 19?
I'm 17.
Just say you're 19.
You just say you're 19. I forget Mom's having one.
Now you can't have one. You blew it. Okay. On the mic, Moose.
Yeah.
And I'll get more. I have more in the fridge.
There we go.
Okay, good. Thank you, Great Lakes Beer. By the way, I recorded live. This might be interesting to you, Bob, because you work for Chorus, and I was live at the GLB Brew Pub on Thursday night for 2.5 hours, chatting up like 19 people affiliated with 640 Toronto, which is a Chorus station.
Yes, it is. I know. I heard about that. Did it go well? I have to admit, I haven't had a chance to listen.
On Humble and Fred this morning, I heard Fred laughing about it, saying that they have way more listeners than 640. Like, who could spend 2.5 hours talking to 640? But I mean, it was actually, I thought it was a pretty cool 2.5 hours because it was people like Greg Brady and Kelly Catrera and Alex Pearson and Danny Stover and Anthony Farnell, who's the weather guy at Global, and who's the news guy, Dave Bradley, who's the news guy at Global. Like, I mean, these were interesting voices I got to capture.
Sure.
So I had a good time. And that's all that matters.
Fun fact, I DJ'd Kelly Catrera's wedding.
And that came up.
Wow.
Yes.
That came up. It's small world
What was the
story.
first dance?
I don't remember, but I do remember the wedding party. I had to play What's Going On, the Four Non Blondes.
Oh, wow.
So they could all go, yeah!
Shout out to Steve Leggett. And I love his logo at live.torontomike.com because it is the Ridley Funeral Home logo. So much love to Steve Leggett. Much love to Ian Service, who says, "Son of Moose, will you do the fandango?" There you go.
Wow.
That's pretty good, right? Rob like that. Shout out to Neil, who says multiple camera angles. He says it's very fancy. We already shouted out Midtown Gord. And of course, Moose Grumpy is the live on-site reporter tonight, so I'll be checking into live.torontomike.com to see what Moose Grumpy is saying, that she's too shy to say out loud into the microphone, so I'll keep my good eye on that. Matt, you chose a great topic today. I think we have the right guest for this. Could we start by discussing why was there such a boom, like in the 1990s in the city of Toronto? Why all these great musicals playing here? Rob, give us a little insight. Do you know?
I think it was because we got Phantom of the Opera pretty quickly after it opened on Broadway. So Phantom opened in New York. Well, it opened in London like in 86, I think. And then it was in Toronto, in New York 2 years later. And then 1 year later, it came to Toronto. Like Garth Drabinsky.
And not just, it was Drabinsky, right? And it wasn't just a touring production.
No.
They set up at the Pantages.
So Garth got into the live entertainment business because he wanted to do Phantom of the Opera. This was like his mission, right? So he formed like Livent Theatricals, right? And very quickly thereafter, we kind of got a reputation as a place to develop new musicals, and Garth was investing his money in whatever shenanigans went on with Livent over the years. In the beginning, he was a champion for musical theater, and he was bringing creators to Toronto. And at one point, I remember hearing that Toronto was like the third destination in North America for production of developing new musicals.
What's second?
Chicago.
Okay.
New York, Chicago,
I
and
thought
Toronto.
maybe we could slip into second place there, but no. Okay.
Yeah.
Boston's pretty big now too.
Boston's big now as
Yeah,
well.
Jagged Little Pill started there. So did Moulin Rouge.
Yep. Well,
and they're
from-
both on Broadway now.
Yeah, and for me, like being in New York now for 20 years and seeing shows in development in New York, I see how like a lot of people will go to Boston and Chicago as their place to form and develop a thing.
Well, and then back in, and we're going to get into this at a certain point, but back in the 90s, you ended up having the, shows like Ragtime and Showboat.
That was Garth.
Yeah, it's all Garth. And Sunset Boulevard, which actually those were all first put on here. You know?
That's because of Garth. Garth was like, I want this stuff. Garth was the one who created Kiss of the Spider Woman. Right. And he was the one that was like bringing creative people on board to sort of go further with the theater world.
And other than Livent, and I do have some questions about Livent in a moment here. That's Garth Drabinsky's company there. But is it also the Mervish?
Of course,
the Mervish people would always bring you.
And I think having Garth being as active as he was really spurred the Mervishes on.
Pushed them.
Yeah, pushed them. Little
Love
competition because then you got all these beautiful theaters. Yep. Garth had reinvented the Winter Garden Elgin Theater, and he had redone the beautifully restored Pantages Theater, and then he had the theater up
north. The Ford Center is what it was called then. Yep.
And then the Mervishes built the Princess of Wales Theater. So on King Street, they had the beautiful little run of those two
Royal
theaters.
Alex.
And the Alex Forever, right? Yeah. So
now it's not all like good news stories here, right? Like this whole Garth Drabinsky Livent, there's a little dirt there, right? Corruption or
something went on.
Fraud?
Yeah, he did jail time.
He
right?
did jail time. I actually auditioned for Garth Drabinsky when here's a fun fact. Here's a mind blow. In 2000 and something, when I was still with Mojo Radio. That's the year that he was involved with the Argonauts. I think he was like, I don't know if it was David Cinnamon. It wasn't Cinnamon and Sokolowski. It was another owner at the time, and that was when they were bringing in all these. So the Blues Brothers, did that. He brought them back. They did 91 back when it was John Candy, but he had like a Mike Tyson appreciation. Not Mike Tyson. Sorry, Ali. He had Muhammad Ali.
All right, that's a bit better.
Yeah, no, he had Muhammad Ali night and.
I remember this.
Yes, and that's so. But during that time, I auditioned to be the in-house announcer.
Oh wow!
And I had
for Garth.
For Garth, I had to go. I was up in the booth. Yeah. He was out sitting in the somewhere in the 500s, and they feeding lines, and you would have to, like it was it was the strangest thing.
Was a real hands-on guy.
Yeah.
I mean my memories of him in the Phantom era as well, and like I was involved with the recording of the cast album of Phantom in Toronto, and I was sort of like assisting the music director, like I was like his intern.
Oh wow,
go-to kind of guy.
That's why we have you on the show, buddy.
But Garth was there at every step. I mean whether other people wanted him there or not, as a producer, he wanted to like be in the creative room with people.
Now, was the Toronto cast who was the Phantom? Wasn't Colm?
Colm Wilkinson. Yeah.
You recorded with Colm here. Oh wow,
Colm and Rebecca Kane. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm gonna nerd out on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna. I mean, at least let me do the math on this. We're each bringing three jams, so there will actually be 9 different productions we'll talk about in great detail. Now, I have a little less to say than you two about this stuff, but I did a little homework and I dug up some fun facts and I got some mind blows. So it should be I'm embracing this. At first I was cursing out Matt. I'm like, who's this Matt guy to make me do musical theater? But then like I sat with it and I started digging in. And I'm like, I like to leave my comfort zone once in a while and discover some new stuff.
At least it's 90s based. You're comfortable there.
Right?
I do live in the 90s. Bob's wet. So Bob, before we get to our jams, since the last recording of Toast, you and I had a date.
We did. Oh. We did. We went, us and about 12,000 other people, headed down to BMO on a cold Tuesday night to see the Canadian men's national soccer team defeat the team from Honduras 4-1. And it was great. It was a really fun time. I had picked up tickets quite affordably. They had kind of outpriced themselves. I don't care about really great seats. I like actually being in the corners where you can be near the, close to the crazies, the supporters, but not, but also somewhere in between. Yeah, so you biked down. We met there. I go trained it down. It was fun.
I had a great time, and it was, my son's just getting into these World Cup athletes. He plays FIFA like on his handheld there, and I told him how close I was to Alphonso Davies. I could throw a rock and hit him, and he was very impressed. And it was a great victory. We had 2 goals from Kyle Laren.
Yep.
And it was just a clear victory.
Yeah,
for
it was
the
an
good
easy.
guys.
It was an easy win. They played very well, Canada, and now that takes them to the. This was part of the CONCACAF Nations League Cup. I believe it's called, and they're playing in June now. They'll play Panama on the Thursday, and if they win, they will play either Mexico or the United States for the gold medal in that tournament.
There's a lot of like trophies and medals in soccer.
Yes.
Okay, so because like in the hockey world, like there's only one we care about. We only care about one. Once a year they give out the Stanley Cup, and that's all we care about. But in soccer, I find there's like, oh, we could get this and this, and you could win like the President's Cup or whatever they call it in MLS, and then you can win the MLS Cup, and then you could win the CONCACAF this, and there's a lot going on.
Different tournaments, a lot of different. It's all based on the English. It's the FA started it. The Football Association is what really started it all, and then you have that's. If we in hockey had a relegation system like they do in soccer, I would greatly improve hockey, if you ask me, and the types of games we'd have.
Okay. Now, Rob, did you ever meet Garth Drabinsky?
Oh, yeah.
But like, so you'd have one-on-one conversations with Garth Drabinsky?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say specifically one-on-one, but maybe in a room making a comment to each other.
So you'd shake his hand and say, hello, Mr. Drabinsky.
Yeah.
And that would be it.
Yep.
Okay.
Like my greatest memory of like in a small encounter with him was when we were doing the cast album, and I was in the control room, like as the orchestra was recording and stuff, and he was in the room and sort of commenting on stuff and whatever. And I was scared shitless to be in there as well. I mean, with him and in the pressure of that room, even though I didn't really have anything to do, it was just sort of nerve-wracking.
Having the guy right there.
Yeah, and just everybody in that environment. But it was exciting, because on the one hand, I was used to being in recording studios from my band days.
Yeah.
So to me, it was a completely comfortable environment. Just seeing the theater nerds in there and knowing that they're more nervous about it because that's not an environment
They're not used to it,
comfortable
yeah.
in. Yeah. But it was cool.
Okay, why can't I remember the nickname we were giving Matt? It wasn't Welcome Matt. What was it again?
Doormat.
Doormat. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to type it out. I can't.
Take a note.
Okay.
If it's not
Doormat.
sticking, it's going to have to be something else.
Yeah, well, I was kind of into Matt Grumpy, but it got kiboshed here by
him.
by this Grumpy family.
Say?
Because I don't want Gene Velitis to tweet nasty things at me, so I'm trying to behave myself. Doormat. Any I don't know, words of inspiration or anything you'd like to say to us before we start to kick out these musical theater jams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give Matt more beer.
You do Second City, Matt? What level Second City have you done?
I was in some classes at some improv classes over the summer.
Nice.
Yes, and?
Yes, that's what he just yes. He yesed, but he didn't and there.
Yes,
That's what I was getting at. He said yes and then stopped.
Yes, and okay, that's fine. If anything inspires you as we kick out these jams, don't hesitate. Even just stick a finger up, go like this, and then I will, I'll wave my hand and say, "Come on, Doormat, let us hear it." So anytime. So we got the beer. Thank you, Great Lakes. You know what? I'm feeling kind of generous right now. I'm going to send the Grumpy family home with a large meat lasagna from Palma Pasta.
When do I get to do my my advertisement for Palma? Because we enjoyed it yesterday.
Yeah,
for Easter
right
Sunday.
now is a good time.
It was unbelievable. My sister, the last time I was here, and I got one from you, and it's been in my sister's freezer. And for Easter Sunday, we were like, "What are we gonna have?" And she had a great spread, and she whipped up the lasagna, and it was
And that's yesterday.
just yesterday. In fact, I had I had 2 little pieces left over today.
All right, so you had a large meat lasagna frozen in your sister's freezer from whenever you were here last time, a couple months ago, and you had it yesterday. And you're not bullshitting me, right? You're not just trying to make, I'm going to help Mike out and tell him his sponsor was delicious or whatever.
No.
You legit loved, and your sister loved it too?
Legit, everybody loved it. I had my nieces and relatives were over, and my mom and my sister's mother-in-law.
It's a hell of an endorsement.
It was a huge spread, and but the lasagna was a hit.
And there was enough left over for the next day.
Yeah, because it's filling. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a heavy meal. Yeah. Okay, that's
so
great
on
news.
the weekend.
Yes, Moose Grumpy.
What's your name? Doormat?
Doormat. I know, I wrote it down. Doormat.
Doormat was discussing what our schedule was today, and he was looking forward to his dinner tonight because he's only ever attended Toronto Mike Palma's kitchen.
Okay, let's touch on this then before we get rolling.
There was
here.
a tear ran down his eye
thought he was getting
that he was getting a pasta dinner.
You can have it tomorrow. You got a frozen lasagna, and you can put it in the fridge. Sorry, put it in the fridge when you get home, and then tomorrow evening you stick that at 375 Fahrenheit, 45 minutes or so. That's a delicious meal, Matt. Okay, you're all set to go. So, am I right? You've been to 2 TMLX events.
I have, yes. One was, I want to say before the lockdown. like in 2019.
Was it at Palma's Kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, December 2019.
Yeah, and the second time was more recent, a few months ago.
December 2022.
Exactly that date. I remember that 100%.
You'll never forget. And you enjoyed meals both times. Did you sneak yourself a Great Lakes beer, or you don't want to do that because you're not 19 and we would frown upon that?
You don't want your.
Tell him.
You tell the truth. I mean, the cops aren't going to bust in and arrest you.
No, there's a thing. Tell him.
Well, when I was younger, you know how like parents will like make little bets with their kids for stuff like non-serious stuff like
Hold on, I'm just gonna call 911 so they can listen to this confession. Hold on, go ahead.
It's basically like if I didn't drink until I turned like legal age, I would get $100. And at the time when that deal was made, it's like that's a lot of money, $100.
You made the deal.
Yes.
And you're gonna stand by that.
Yeah.
Is this going to be adjusted for inflation? It should be.
Yeah. Hey, wait.
You know what's gonna happen though, because Moose, I'm talking to you right now.
The thing is, he's got the most easygoing parents, and we don't care. We would happily let him have a drink.
You know those kids. You know those kids growing up whose parents said you can't watch TV, so they would come to your house and they would watch a lot of TV. And those kids, when they went to university or whatever, all they did was watch TV because their parents said they weren't allowed to watch TV. So what's gonna happen is this doormat's gonna turn 19, and he's just gonna drink like 4 or 5 liters of Great Lakes beer a day.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, we will. I say you give him a little
Tune
bit
in.
now and just let him know it's nothing scary, just in
He
moderation.
knows it's nothing scary.
Okay.
When he makes a deal, he sticks to it. So
He's a man of honor.
Usually.
A man needs a code, right? All right. Molly Johnson's brother created that series. It's very quite something. Okay, so May 11th at 6 p.m. at Marie Curtis Park, we're holding TMLX 12. Ooh. This is going to be a lot of fun. Moose, you going to be there?
of course.
Okay, of course she's going to be there. I might bring some, I won't say what, but there might be some cold beverages with me, and we're going to enjoy them responsibly, and everybody, all FOTMs are welcome. So Mike at TorontoMike.com if you have any questions, because it always sounds sketchy when I say it out loud. It always does, but we've done this before, and it is a great time, and if you want to meet up and say hi, just, ask me, send me an email, and I'll give you a map, like a secret map on how to find us. But 6 p.m., May 11th, 2023, TMLX 12.
Nice.
Hey, Doormat, here's a Bluetooth speaker for you, okay? Because I know.
No way.
Yeah, seriously. And you know what? I'm in a generous mood. Bob, you get one too.
Thanks, I already have one, but I'll
Well, you
I
can
will
leave it
share
here, then.
No, I'll share with somebody who would love it.
Rob's getting one as well, everybody. Okay,
This
so
is unbelievable.
now there's a catch.
What you got?
You can listen to your jams, okay? Rob, you can listen to your musical theater jams. Bob can listen to his Pearl Jam. But you also need to listen to Season 4 of the Yes, We Are Open podcast. This is a Moneris podcast hosted by award-winning podcaster Al Grego, who will be at TMLX 12 on May 11th at 6 p.m. So Al Grego's been traveling the country talking to small business owners and learning their stories of perseverance and how they've succeeded. And it's inspiring AF. It inspires me. And Doormat, it would inspire you too. So you're going to listen to Season 4 of Yes, We Are Open.
This surprisingly packs a punch.
I can't wait to hear it.
It's actually really good.
Right?
It's actually really good. Yeah.
I like the little blurb on the back of their little. Did they get permission from Sting to use the lyrics? I mean, it's not
Roxanne.
really-
If they said Boxanne, I don't think you can have a copyright
No,
on the
I
word
know.
Roxanne because
don't.
I saw the Steve Martin movie, the Cyrano de Bergerac remake there. All right, and also because Doormat came all this way, and we're going to get to jams in like 18 seconds, but Ridley Funeral Home has sent over some measuring tape. So Matt, insert joke here. If there's anything you need to measure, okay, you can just whip out this measuring tape and you can measure it. That's for you, Doormat.
I gotta figure out how big the coffin will be.
So they moved on from the
thank
flashlight.
God he went
though.
there, right, Bob? I was worried where he was going
You
there.
just threw to a new sponsor.
Because we had the flashlights in the past.
Yeah, there's flashlights
The future is now.
and there's measuring tapes. So, okay, so we'll get to the jams and I'll shout out a couple of other Toronto Mike partners later, but we're going to start with you. Who are we going to start with? Who should I start with? Do you guys care? Should I start with?
I don't remember. No, I think it probably Rob. I mean, Rob actually was a musical director in the 90s.
Not in the 90s.
Not in the 90s?
Nope.
In the 80s? In the 2000s?
Yep.
In the 2000s.
In the turn of the century.
Okay, all right.
All right, let's start with Rob Preuss.
Okay.
Rob, any words before I kick out this first jam?
No, because I don't know what you're going to kick out.
Yeah,
but
and
I'll
I'm
be-
actually sweating over here, hoping I have the right order.
I don't care. You can play whatever you want.
Here's the thing. So normally I kick out the jams. I see the titles and I can kind of hear the song in my head. I know the song. I actually, looking at the titles here.
Did you listen to any of these?
No. I listened to mine, obviously. But I actually have no idea what I don't know what show this is from. Amazing. I don't know what this sounds like. Amazing. But here we go. I feel I should hit the post on this one. You could put a gun in my head right now. I wouldn't be able to tell you what song I'm listening to.
Good.
Do you know Doormat?
No idea.
Does Moose Grumpy know? Shaking her head. No, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Bob, do you know?
I have an idea. I'll know.
Bangkok, Oriental City, but the city don't know. That's my musical
the
theater, but it
80s.
wasn't 90s.
That's the 80s.
Leslie wants to know if it's Tommy. Okay. Leslie, you got it. Are there words in this song, Rob?
Nope. It's
Oh,
the
yeah, I'll bring
overture,
it down.
isn't it? Yeah, it's the overture.
Talk to us about this. Is Tommy?
This is Tommy the Musical. This is how Act 2 starts. This is called the Underture.
Oh,
how cool is Pete
right.
Townsend? Like when they did the original Tommy recording in 69 or 70 or whatever it was. It's called the Underture. So this takes some of the themes that have already been in Act 1.
Yes.
I think you can hear Pete actually singing on this. This is the Broadway recording.
Okay.
There was no Toronto recording.
Now this and it was the Elgin, right? It was the Elgin it played at. Was it a
And-
permanent? Was it there like for a season or two? Yeah. I saw it. I remember. I loved it. Oh my gosh.
It's nice. This is like a rock musical. It's a good way to kind of get into the world of theater for you, I guess, Mike, because
Yeah, like this is
this is like rock music. It's rock and roll. And
Yeah.
it was a big thing when it came to Toronto because it opened on Broadway a few years before. And it's the music of The Who, and it's Tommy the Musical.
Wait.
Like from the movie.
Yeah.
Who's singing this? Who?
Who?
Who was singing?
Who's
Who?
on first?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And they think quite highly of Toronto. That it's to them, it's a
Well, Des
important-
McAnuff, the director, is Canadian as well.
It's
so
very important to them on all of their tours. That's
Exactly.
for Toronto. So
That's right.
You know why I didn't recognize it at first? Because I'm having one of those I can't be this old moments because I honestly thought I saw Tommy in the 2000s. So
it was the 90s.
It was
No, it was- but it was
late 90s.
You
though.
can be that old.
I would
Mind
say-
you, well, shows get done again too, right? Like if
Yeah.
it may have come back because it toured as well for a while, and this was mid '90s. Like I mean, it opened.
it was mid 90s.
It opened in '95. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
Just one of those moments of no.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about the Elgin, because it was at the Elgin Theater,
Yeah.
the story of the Elgin and the Winter Garden and the stacked theaters, if you've never been in that building, it's phenomenal.
It's amazing.
And if
I've
you
been there
get
many times. I even saw Conan O'Brien there.
Oh, cool. But if you get the chance to see something in the Winter Garden Theater,
top.
yes, it's a whole other experience. You can't. It's so different than any.
Do you
other
know who
theater.
I saw there a few months ago? Cynthia Dale in her one-woman show.
I
Okay,
saw-
that's the circles I roll in.
There you
Matt.
go.
Okay.
I saw Pete Postlewaite.
Did you?
Do a one-man show?
I think
at
I
the-
saw Stephen Wright there. Actually,
Yeah,
doing stand-up.
do a one-man show
Love
at the
Stephen
winter
Wright.
at the Winter Garden Theater.
Reservoir Dogs soundtrack has a lot of Stephen
That's
Wright
right.
all over it.
K. Billy Superstars.
I love the 90s. Matt, what do you think of the 90s?
Yeah.
I just gave the hang loose.
Thank you.
So
God,
Tommy the Musical, just to bring it back to the world of musicals in the 90s
Yeah.
and Toronto themed, at this point when Tommy came,
Yeah.
Phantom had already been running for a while.
Yep.
I was at that time, I had just finished doing a run of Miss Saigon at the Princess of Wales Theatre,
Right.
which we did from 93 to 95. And then Tommy was up and running.
And you weren't a musical director then? Were you playing?
I was
it?
in the orchestra.
You were playing. Okay, yeah.
Keyboard one. I was keyboard one. So I did Miss Saigon. Miss Saigon closed, and I knew I was going to be doing Beauty and the Beast at the Princess of Wales because that was the next thing coming in.
We got the perfect co-host for this toast.
But I played
episode.
Tommy a little bit too. I subbed on Tommy in the band, and because by this time I knew the dudes who were like in the bands and the music directors and stuff.
Yeah.
The music director of Tommy was the original associate music director at Phantom.
Wow.
So I got to sub on the show a few times for a friend of mine. But this underture, which starts Act 2, was my favorite thing in the show to play in the pit. Because I didn't play very much, but the drummer, of course, doing his Keith Moon work, I would just sit back and watch him. It was just
How come Kid Rock said, "Get in the pit and try to and love someone"? Right? You remember this, Bob? But now he's all pissed off about whatever. He's shooting cans of beer. Like,
he's a
what happened to
caricature
the
of
love that
himself.
was in his heart back in the '90s?
I don't know if there was love that was in his heart.
Get in the pit and try to love someone.
Yeah, but do you think you meant like make love to you in the middle of a mosh pit?
I thought it was just love your fellow mosher. And today she's got a lot of hate in his
as
heart.
long as they're not trans, according to him. That's what.
It's a good sentiment.
Yeah, he's.
I just thought I heard you say
he's a dink.
mosh. Okay, I wanted to shout out quickly some things. Firstly, Tobias Vaughn. Bob, you and I met Tobias Vaughn at that Canada-Honduras match at BMO Field. So hello
He's a
to
nice
Tobias
fella. Is he going
Vaughn.
to Vegas? Ask him if he's going.
Let us know, Tobias Vaughn, if you're going to Vegas. But
I'm thinking of going.
He did look at the T-shirt being worn right now by Rob Preuss. And we'll take a photo by the tree after so we can see what this
Love
is.
it.
And he guessed it was the National Film Board logo.
That's exactly.
Rob, tell the world, though, I guessed it right away when you came downstairs.
Yeah, you guessed it right away. You called it right away.
It is the NFB logo, and brings back a lot of warm
it's
fuzzies.
Like a person just doing that. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's an eye.
It had a little sounder with it too. Remember when?
Yeah.
It
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it had a little. Yeah.
For sure.
Kinda
For
like-
sure.
Yep.
Do they still exist? They still do stuff?
Yes.
NFB, sure.
NFB has a fantastic app on Apple TV and Roku TV and all those things.
But is it just for old stuff, or they're making new stuff?
both?
You can only watch the whitewater thing.
There's
That's
that's
nothing
a great
but
one. That's
that.
the log
There's good
driver's
stuff.
wall.
Yeah.
But they have that one with the fence and
Yeah.
to the neighbors. And
Norman McLaren.
Yeah,
all of his
oh, God.
animation is on NFB.
Shaking your eyes.
Yeah.
Oh.
so much.
No,
good
it's
shit.
there's
one?
fantastic
Oh, so
stuff
good.
on there. You got to go.
Oh my God! Did they do the Cat Came Back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, look at this! Holy
All the
smokes
stuff.
here. I also want to shout out Basement Dweller. That's a treat whenever we see Basement Dweller here. Nearly 50 and only sipped a beer once as a kid. Never again. Okay, I don't think Basement Dweller is a new client of Great Lakes Brewery. So no Great Lakes for Basement Dweller. Ian says, nothing like a measuring joke directed at you while sitting next to your mom. I was very subtle with it, Ian. I just want you to know I was very subtle with it here. And Leslie says that she saw Wicked in Toronto and New York City, and it's her favorite musical of all time. And she also saw Tommy, which we just played a jam from. Blah, blah, blah. Steve Leggett, 10-year-old, is going to see Rock of Ages on Saturday. So there's a lot of musical theater love going on in the FOTM community.
Nice.
And clearly I've been missing out here. One thing is DJ Dream Doctor says that NFB logo looks a little like The Residents, he says.
Cool.
And last but not least, from Steve Leggett, and then later I'll pick up more, but he says, how hard is it to fill in for a show? Can you just play from sheet music, or does it take some rehearsing?
Yes and yes. It is hard. You do play from sheet music, and it takes a lot of rehearsing. But when you fill in, the hardest part is the fact that you don't really get a rehearsal. You just have to show up and play.
Yeah.
So like your first performance is a performance, right? So like my first time playing Phantom, I was scared shitless because it's the full on. I mean, the show had just been open for a few months at that point.
Right.
And you have to basically watch and learn. Then you go home and practice with a tape or whatever. And then when you're ready, you do a show and it's a show. And so,
And on that, were you on a full keys or
I was
you
playing piano and synthesizer.
and
Yeah,
synthesizer?
nice grand piano in the pit.
Right, I was gonna say like a real grand piano would have been right.
Yeah, in those days, when I started. Now that was '89, so it wasn't quite the '90s, but
Right.
it was close enough.
Close
it was the end of-
enough.
yeah, but it is hard and it's a lot of pressure, but it's fun. It's still
So it's
Amazing.
89, y'all, not Beethoven's 5th or 6th.
that's right.
Okay.
Thank you, Maestro.
Ian Service is barbecuing outside and broadcasting this episode of Toast to the neighborhood.
Oh, they must be
hello.
enthralled.
Hello to FOTM Mike Schreiner, who might be able to hear us now in the Guelph atmosphere. Okay. Lots of keyboards and phantoms, says
Yeah.
Steve Leggett. So, all right. That was great, Rob. So we've heard from Tommy, a rock opera, and that's a good start for things. And now, if it's okay with you, Mr. Willette, I'm going to kick out your
Go
first
for
jam.
it.
Oh, thank God I made the cut. Okay.
I love Oklahoma.
Oh, that was the Pirates of Penzance. Rob is
Air keyboarding.
air
Love it.
keyboarding. Is there words in this one?
Yes. It's
I
coming.
don't know. I know what it is.
This is the,
Look down, don't look 'em in the eye. Look down, you're here until you die. The sun is strong, it's hot as hell below. Look down, there's 20 years to go. I've done no wrong, sweet Jesus, hear my prayer. Look down, sweet Jesus doesn't care. I know she'll wait, I know that she'll be true. Look down, they've
all forgotten
you. When I get free, you won't see me here for dust.
Bob Willette, what are we listening to?
So this is the opening of Les Mis, which was my first big musical I ever saw. So picture this. This is 92 or so, I think, when it first came earlier, I think, but
It was 89.
89.
as
So
well. Yeah.
in 92, I'm in grade 10,
Yeah.
and I've already done in grade 9. I did drama for the first time. We did Grease the musical, and I loved it. I was in it, and I was addicted to it at that point. So now, by the time the show comes around in 92 or so, I'm in grade 10,
Yeah.
and the Mervishes were always great about having cheap tickets for students.
Yes,
So
always.
$20, $25, and I grew up. I had never been in a real theater in my life. So walking into the Royal Alexandra Theater and that upper deck, if you've been in the upper level balcony, it's so steep. It's like, it feels like it's a ladder you're going down, but the stage is like right underneath you. Like you feel close even though you're way up in the rafters. And you sit down and this starts and there's a rotating stage. I'd never seen a rotating stage in my life.
What about the Ontario Place Forum?
Well, no, but not the whole stage, just part of it. That was the thing. It was part of, and then all these different. The sets were just incredible. They blew me away, and I was addicted. And so, like back in that means 90s Bob, 92 Bob in my 5-disc changer would have both of my. I dropped my phone. I'd have both. I had the London cast original, which is what this is. This is the original London cast recording. I'd have a Pearl Jam CD.
Yeah.
I'd have a Digital Underground
best,
CD.
right?
I had it in
man.
my 5-disc. What was so neurotic.
Yeah.
So this is
Eclectic.
yeah. So this. I've reacquainted myself with Les Mis over the weekend, knowing that I was going to do this.
Amazing.
It gets so stuck in your head. There's the whole Seinfeld episode with Master of the House.
Yes.
George getting Master of the House stuck in his head. I've had this music stuck in my head for weeks now because of this. But this was the thing that really, I feel like, is Claude Michael Schoenberg and Alan Boublil, based on obviously Victor Hugo's epic book Les Miserables.
Yep.
The movie's been made. Everybody's seen that with Russell Crowe and the other Aussie guy,
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Thank you. But
Who's
who's
a better actor, Hugh Jackman or Russell Crowe?
Generally speaking, I would say I'm a bigger fan of Hugh Jackman.
Really? Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I needed to know.
What show was it where they always called him Huge Ackman?
Yeah.
His name was Huge.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Ackman.
The Wolverine?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this here in Toronto gave birth. You actually got some Toronto, I would say, musical celebrities. People like Michael Burgess. Michael Burgess played Jean Valjean famously for many years.
And he did many a Canada at Leaf
Yeah,
Games.
he passed away at 70 only with cancer. But Cole Wilkinson also played Jean Valjean.
He was the original.
He was the original
Yes.
Jean Valjean. But Michael Burgess is he became like this Toronto staple.
Totally.
And Les Mis is beautiful. Yeah, Les Mis is just a beautiful play.
Oh, yeah.
So Mervish has announced it for next season.
Oh, really?
Will your girls be
That's interesting. So my older one, that's a great question. She's turning 13 and she loves the musical Six, which is coming as well.
Is it coming here?
It's coming
Yes,
here.
it
Yeah,
is.
Mervis
Yep.
is bringing it here later this year.
And Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah, and Hamilton is one that she loves as well. So I will try to introduce this to her. A lot of prostitutes in the Boubille, both that and this and Miss Saigon, both have a lot of prostitutes in it. You know, so he's got to figure that out. Not that I'm against sex work or anything.
No, you should be like positive pro sex worker.
But they're not being treated properly. It's
well, that's bullshit.
Because that's where his exposure for musical theater came from.
prostitutes?
No, from me remembering these
Well, yeah.
and taking him to see them now and being able to say, like, when Lion King came around again, to take him to that, and the tears that I cried over the puppets and the display, and so to be able to share it now with our kids
It's amazing. Absolutely, for sure. Love that man.
Song's still going. Hold on, let me.
It never ends. It's like an opera. There's
They
no
never
dialogue.
stop singing in this one. Yeah.
It really is.
Same with Phantom as well.
Wow. Okay.
Me life.
And what a coup that it was for Garth to get Colm to do Phantom, because he wanted Colm to be the original Phantom when he started in '86, but Colm was doing Les Mis already.
Okay.
So he already had him in mind. But
Amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, one of the Phantoms, another Toronto, was Jeff from
Jeff
today's.
Hislop.
Yeah,
I
Jeff
did the tour
Hislop.
with him.
You did that?
Yeah, I did the tour with him.
Jeff from today's special.
Yeah.
No, I know who Jeff Hislop is. That's how you say it, right? Hislop?
Hislop.
Yeah, Hislop.
Hislop.
Yeah, Muffy the Mouse has been on this program.
You got to get
Throwing it
Jeff.
out
You
there.
talk you could talk
Yeah,
Phantom.
he took his hat off and he was frozen like a mannequin.
Yeah, but he was
I know.
also Phantom.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that was at the Sears by the Eden Center. The Simpsons, sorry. The old Simpsons, that's where they filmed that.
Wow.
Wow, okay. Get me Retro Ontario on line 2. Matt, would you mind? Get me Retro Ontario on line 2. Stat!
I don't know how to work a phone.
Just press dial 9 before you get it outside line. Okay,
But yeah,
Matt?
so there's Les Mis. I was surprised nobody else picked Les Mis. I thought.
Now, I can't remember now, but Rob did pick something that was already picked.
Yes, I can't wait to
But
see
it
how
wasn't
that
this,
goes.
right?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, this was all yours.
Yeah, good.
Although I will confess, because I always put my 3 down right away. Like literally, sometimes the night that we choose
Do
the
you really?
topic. So I'll just play a bit of it. But I was going through I was like, what do I do? I'm out of my comfort zone. I was sweating. I felt like Stu Stone having to kick out 60s girl groups or whatever. And here, let me bring down Les Mis. Stand by.
I love it.
Do you guys know what I'm playing here? Like,
This is also Les Mis, right?
It's also, yeah.
so I had Les Mis on my short list,
Okay.
and then Bob picked it,
I
and
see.
I was happy to give it up because I had never seen Les Mis. I've never seen Les Mis.
So what made you pick this song?
I was Googling, like, I had a list of. First, I had to find out what played
Hits.
Toronto in the 90s.
This
That's
is
where I
Castle on a
started.
Cloud, right?
On my own.
Oh, on my own.
my
Oh, no,
own.
sorry.
And this was, so I literally was Googling, like, best songs from Les Mis, and I was listening to them on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, this sounded to me, to my ears, to be like the best song from Les Mis. Like, what do I know? I've never seen Les Mis. Anyway, I'm not kicking it out.
There's lots of beautiful songs in
There's
this
a lot of beautiful
I have
songs.
so many memories. I didn't get in. Like, when it was the
Well,
first
go
time.
ahead,
I
man.
would just. It stood out to me when somebody died in it, and they use that bright white light. You know, when they show them, and it just. I get chills when I think about it because it's the first time I'd ever seen anything like it at all, and all of the amazing things that they did, including obviously the moving sets and everything.
Yep.
But this beautiful bright white light that I'd never even seen anything like it in my life. It's just like it was. This was like for me. This was like a life-changing show, and I think I saw it on that run 3 times.
Did you really?
Oh
In
yeah,
the Toronto production?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And then it's come back since that Toronto production.
Yeah.
I saw it once.
Wow.
Yeah, a huge fan of it.
Amazing.
Nice song, right? Matt, what do you think of this song, Matt? Is this a good jam?
It gets the doormat seal of approval.
Nice.
That's all I'm looking for. Doormat's seal of approval. Shout out to Doormat. All right. Yeah. Okay.
So that was your first choice, and then you got bumped because.
And then when Bob
picked it.
sent me his, and it had a Les Miserables prologue, I said, "Screw you on my own. You're out of here." And I went and got a different jam. Which, by the way, now I just want to say, as I bring this down, and I'm going to kick out my first jam. I'm a little nervous because you two seem really like knowledgeable and passionate, and I'm a little scared. Like, I'm gonna kick out some jams from 9, and I'm worried that what if they
What are we gonna do? Make fun of you?
Yeah.
You're entering the world.
Can I join in?
Yeah, you're entering the world that we will bring you into it. And
You know, Matt, I haven't given you that lasagna yet, so you better behave yourself.
But I want to turn the tables and ask you a question.
Who, me?
Yes. How did you miss the theater experience of Toronto in the 90s? You are Toronto Mike. You're the music. You know everything that's going on.
Okay, well.
It's a big chunk of...
I wasn't the mayor of the fucking city, Moose. Okay. How did you miss the 90s musical theater experience? I want to shout out Lieve Fumka because she went on to live.torontomike.com and she left the following note. She wrote, "Hi Moose and Little Moose." So she's calling you Little Moose, the doormat. I think that's to me that's offensive. Little Moose.
Yeah.
At least you can be Big Moose.
Yeah. I'm taller than
Get
Moose.
on that mic, Moose.
Yeah, I'm
Little
going in the
Moose.
ring here. I'm defending my honor.
He's getting into it now. Bob, what do you do? You hiring in Kingston?
Actually, I am. Yeah.
Would you move to Kingston for a radio gig?
It's only a part-time gig, though. I don't know if it's worth it.
He's 17.
Fair.
I'll be fine on my own.
On
But
my
anyways,
own.
I am
On my own.
On my own.
That's playing. Matt, did you do that on purpose? Because
You're breaking into song.
You'll get the job right now if that
Yeah.
was intentional.
those improv classes. I'm telling you,
There
they
you go.
pay
Paid
off.
off. Good job.
You have a good mom there in Moose because she's making sure you get the proper Toronto theater experience. So good job, Moose. As you make fun of me for not getting that proper experience. Toronto Mike didn't know his 90s stuff. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get the number of the bus that just ran over me.
Oh, well, stay tuned. There'll be more buses coming. Okay. I'm kicking out jam, and it's not from the. Again, this is interesting because I heard Rob say earlier, like this is not from the Toronto recording. This is none of mine are from the Toronto recording. This
There
is
weren't a lot of
actually like
Toronto
not
recordings.
even. But this is a song from a musical that played Toronto in the '90s. But it's actually Well, there'll be some mind blows here, but I'm kicking out a version by somebody for the film of this musical. Anyways, ready?
Go.
There's an old man called Mississippi. That's the old man that I'd like to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old man River, he must know something. But don't say nothing, he just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, and damn that planter is soon forgotten. But old man River, he just keeps rolling along.
This is a song from Showboat. Did you know Showboat is a musical? That is
Heard of it.
Okay, so the music, and Rob, you can intersect anyone who knows more than I do, but the music's by Jerome Kern. And this is based on the lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein, right? This is the famous Rodgers and Hammerstein duo that we hear so much about in musical theater. All right, so there was a big book in 1926 called Showboat, written by Edna Ferber, and this is based on that. And now a little bit of the premise. The musical follows the lives of the performers, stagehands, and dock workers on the Cotton Blossom, a Mississippi River showboat. And it's over 40 years, from 1887 to 1927. So this particular song, this is Paul Robeson. Robeson, okay. And this is probably the most famous rendition of Old Man River. And this is actually from a film version of Showboat that came out in 1936, okay? Moose Grumpy was a teenager. That's how far back we're going here. Hi-yo! All right. Oh, she's getting mad at me. She can take back that Blue Jay ticket. Sorry, Jarvis. We can't see the game anymore. All right, so in the 1951 version, there was another recording that was kind of famous. So this is the Paul Robeson version, the one I kind of gravitated towards. But a lot of people like this one right here.
There's an old man called Mississippi. That's the old man that I wants to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? Oh, man river.
They could get Brad Roberts to sing this. I think, right? So I sure can't sing along. Maybe Bob. I noticed Bob's got pretty
If
good.
I'm a baritone when I sing it, but if I
Do you want to try? Give it a go.
not without warming up. Old Man River. There you go.
It's shaking the house here. Amazing here. So, does anyone have any I don't have any clue about where in Toronto it played in the 90s.
I
Who's
can
got
tell you
that?
exactly.
Oh, Moose Grumpy knows,
Yeah, of
and
course,
Bob knows,
sure.
and Rob
We
knows,
all know.
and Matt knows. But you go first, Moose.
Well, this was unusual at the time, if I'm not mistaken, Rob, because it was the North York Performing Arts
It was
Center.
the brand new
built. Yeah.
And after the explosion of the theater downtown, to have it so far north. So far north, but to that it was so far away
Young and
from
Shepherd
where the
or whatever.
Yeah.
That's north.
That's all Mel. Mel did that, right?
Mel
and Garth.
Lastman.
Mel
First
and
mayor of
Garth.
the megacity.
Yeah, Mel. That was all Mel. Yeah, and it was called, when it opened. It was one of the first theaters to have a name sponsorship as well. It was the Ford Center for the Performing Arts.
That's Garth Drabinsky doing it all again, right?
Yeah, he was
Really?
ahead of his time with that stuff.
Can't
for sure.
believe they sent that man to jail. Look at all the great things he did. Holy
But yeah, so Showboat was the first big one, and it was a Toronto production.
Yep.
I don't think it came from anywhere else. It started
it
here.
originated
right?
here.
It originated
It was
and then
Garth's-
went to Broadway.
To Broadway.
Yes,
That was Garth's dream,
Yeah.
really,
That's- yeah.
to do this show. I believe Hal Prince directed it.
yes,
Right?
that sounds right.
After doing Phantom, he's like, I want to do a new version of this musical.
Yeah, and it became it was quite a breeding ground here actually for I don't know, like I mentioned earlier, there was Ragtime that played out of that theater, and Sunset Boulevard with Diane Carroll,
Yes.
which was actually that's a Sunset Boulevard is an Andrew Lloyd Webber show.
Yep.
So yeah, that particular theater did pretty well. And fun fact, if it's at least a fun fact for me, I've performed in that theater a couple times. There's three of them. There's three spaces.
Yeah.
I performed in the small and the middle one as part of the Canadian Improv Olympics.
Cool. Yes, and
Oh, I thought you played Shrek when Shrek played.
Oh wow, you're really hurtful today, eh?
He's going after all of us.
Isn't he? I know.
No makeup
you don't
required.
you don't have to make yourself feel better by making other people feel bad, Mike.
that's true.
It doesn't hurt. Oh, there's a version of this Old Man River, though, that's more contemporary that I thought was pretty cool when I was doing my homework. And I'll just play a little bit of that because it's my fucking show, so I'm going to do it. Who's going to be first to name that artist? I'll be listening in the headphones.
Frank Sinatra.
Nope.
I love it already.
Once the Raylettes finish up here. That's a clue, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, it is? Really?
Yeah.
It's really? Okay.
Okay. I didn't know Ray Parker Jr. did it.
I want a new drug.
Huey Lewis?
Yeah, but he stole that from
Ghostbusters.
Ray Parker Jr. I'm always like playing 3D chess.
Who are you
I'm
gonna
always
call?
Three
Who
moves.
are you going
ahead
to
of
call? Ray Charles.
Ray Charles is correct. This is Ray Charles. I think at some point there's actually Ray Charles on this Ray Charles. Just give it a moment here, and then we'll.
This is the introduction.
Mike said, "Hey, I found a Broadway song. I'm going to play every incarnation
I'm
of it
like,
I can
oh.
find."
Yeah, I have 14 more versions of Old Man River. Just get comfortable. Matt, there's a bed around the corner if you need a nap. Just let me know. Okay.
If he doesn't start singing.
If he doesn't start, I'm gonna bail.
There he goes.
Oh wow.
Holy fuck!
Just
Mike did it again. Cambrio, I won today. Okay.
That old man river.
really show tunes were like pop music in the 50s.
He
and the 40s
must know
as well.
something.
Everybody did versions of theater songs in their own way.
And yeah, both versions are outstanding, but completely different.
Totally. Yeah.
All right, well, Ray's in the background. Before we throw it to Rob for his second jam, I will just let everybody know you guys got some really sweet wireless speakers, courtesy of Moneris, and those are going to last a lifetime. But should you have any speakers or technology that breaks on you, don't throw it in the garbage. Matt, this is important. Pay attention. That'll end up in our landfills, those chemicals. That's bad for Mother Earth. You go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. You find a safe place to drop off that old antiquated tech, and they'll take care of it thanks to EPRA. So thank you.
Roger that.
You got it? You taking notes here?
I'm saluting here.
Look at, you know what? He's starting to. I think I'm going to replace Bob Willette with our new intern Matt.
I'm kind of busy next month anyway. So it's all right.
And that's it. Returning next week, Stu Stone and Cam Gordon. Speaking of Stu, real quick here, and then we're going to get to Rob's second jam. But do you know who represents Stu when it comes to PR? I just found this out by going to Stu Stone's Twitter account, and I got to see who do you contact for PR purposes if you want Stu Stone on your show or whatnot. Do you know
Is that the only way we can get a hold of him now?
That's how I get a hold of him. I talked to the Moment Lab. So the Moment Lab specializes in public relations. They have a team of experienced professionals who know how to craft stories that resonate with your audience and generate positive to generate positive media coverage. Whether you're launching a new product or building your reputation or managing a crisis, the Moment Lab has got you covered. So if you want to give your business a boost, don't wait any longer. Contact my friends Matt and Jared at the Moment Lab. That's what Stu Stone did, and that's what our intern Matt's going to do. He's going to learn how they can help him achieve his public relations goals.
Yeah.
All right, I was waiting for that gold, and I got it, so I feel good now. Okay, Rob, any words before I kick out your second jam?
No, because I don't know what you're going to play, but I'm excited.
That's right. How come you don't know your jams, Rob?
Because I don't know if you're going to play them in the order I sent them. I don't know.
Well, usually you number them, actually, don't you?
Do I? No, I don't think I numbered them this time. Oh, now.
I don't want my arms around you, no.
Is this the Beach Boys? Bob guessed it, but we're going to try to...
I found you, no, not much.
Moose, do you know what this is? Matt, do you know?
No clue.
Bob's got it. Don't cheat. Don't Shazam it.
Jersey Boys?
Jersey Boys 90s, or is that like 2000s?
Yeah, it's 2000, and I was up at the Ford Theater as well.
Right.
This was a much smaller theater on Yonge Street, and it's closing now, or it's closed now, and it's not. They're condoing it, or that group.
Of course.
Okay, Rob, what is this?
This is from a musical called Forever Plaid,
Oh.
which ran in the 1990s. Believe it opened in 90. Wait, I wrote it down because I didn't.
And what is that
95.
venue that's closing down for condos?
Yeah, what's
It used to be called the New Yorker
The New Yorker.
Theater, and then
Has
it
it
was
been
this, that,
renamed?
yeah, and then
the CAA
it was the
now.
CAA, which they've actually changed that name.
this
to
is on Yonge
the
Street.
Pantages. Yeah,
I know,
so
I
the Blue Man Group played there for a long time as well.
okay.
Yep.
Beautiful little theater.
Yeah, it is a
and
neat
I
li-
think
it
this
was a
was the
neat
first
little
thing that
place.
ran there, right? In 95.
Forever Plaid.
Yep. It was
Okay.
such a fun show. And when I was trying to think of a 90s musical in Toronto, and I sort of wanted to avoid the big ones that I had been a part of, that even though I knew they'd come up, I remembered seeing the show and just loving
Why
it.
are you avoiding the ones you were part of?
I just want to do something different for myself.
You should kick out the ones you're part of because you'd have so much insight to share.
I know. I just want to challenge myself, though, in the larger picture. So here, let me read the overview of the musical because you won't know what it is. It
Forever
says
Plaid.
the show is a review of the close harmony guy groups that reached the height of their popularity in the 1950s. The quartet of high school chums, their dreams of recording an album ended in death in a collision with a bus filled with Catholic schoolgirls
The bus that ran over Moose earlier.
on their way to
This
see the
episode.
Beatles' American debut on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh!
So the review begins with the Plaids returning from the afterlife for one final chance at musical glory.
Wow.
And it's such a fun show. So these guys are basically, they're dead and they come back. And they're like, this is our final show before we go back up to the afterlife. And so they're versions of pop songs that were done in the 50s, the boy groups, the boy vocal groups. And they're such great arrangements.
Bob, how did you nail it so quickly? Have you seen Forever Plaid?
I did see Forever Plaid. I saw everything in the 90s.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's like
You should be Toronto Mike.
No, I mean I saw every musical in
Broadway
there.
Bob.
Yeah, I saw everything that came through.
Yeah.
I even saw some really bad stuff along the way, like Wuthering Heights, the musical.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, like that was horrible.
Yeah.
But I would go see everything. That's just what we did. Me and
Yeah.
and we would. And when I was in grade 12, we actually did a school bus trip, an arts trip to New York City, and we saw. We saw a funny thing happened on the way to the forum
wow.
with
The
Nathan
Nathan
Lane.
Lane, yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
and we saw. I went to New York City on my own with my
On
buddy.
my own.
On my own, I'll play it again.
And saw.
Good jam.
So I did. So I heard this, and
amazing.
I probably had the Forever Plaid soundtrack as well.
Well, I was
'Cause people
listening to
bought
it again.
CDs
Oh
then.
yeah,
So-
exactly. We bought the CD, and I was
Oh,
listening
wow.
a few nights ago,
Yeah.
and I forgot how good it was.
Yeah, it's really
That's
good.
what made me think of it.
Can I
like,
ask you? Did they advertise Forever Plaid in Honest Ed's?
Probably.
Like,
Sure.
why do I have feeling like I remember walking
Yeah.
Honest Ed's and they'd have like
Well,
posters.
why
for
wouldn't they?
certain
It
shows.
was a Mervish show.
Was it a
don't even
Mervish
know.
show?
I think it
I
was a
don't know.
pre-Mervish.
You're right,
think-
because if it's a Mervish
yeah.
show, that's why I'm seeing.
I
the
don't know
Honest
for
Ed's
sure that it was Murphys. It
promotions.
might have been an independent producer
Right.
who got into that theater.
So
Because the Mervishes ended up with
is
that
one of the
theater.
jams? Tell me this: is one of the jams from Forever Plaid? Forever Plaid, I wanna be Forever Plaid.
Absolutely, yes.
yeah, I
they
think it
covered,
was.
Forever Young by
Alphaville,
Alphaville.
that's
Yeah.
Alphaville.
Yeah, you can call it
Or
Forever
isn't
Plaid.
it Rod Stewart had
Forever Young.
Forever Plaid?
Oh yeah. I just made a connection.
Flat.
I just made a connection in my first jam to this jam that I have a friend who was the lead in Tommy. His name is Tylee Ross, and Tylee played Tommy, and Tylee was also in Forever Plaid.
Oh, there you go.
I just thought of that, but he was also in Miss Saigon, which I did as well.
Everything's
I got Miss
connected,
Saigon
Rob.
too, so
I know, I
yeah.
guess.
Okay,
I think
well,
it kinda
well,
would've-
stay tuned. I think we're really off to a good start. So that song is called "No Not Much" for those who want to
Yep.
find it on Spotify or whatever.
And was Forever Plaid, was it a Broadway play originally?
It was an off-Broadway
Yeah, it was an
thing.
off-Broadway.
Yes,
That's
it
right.
began in
'Cause it's a
1989.
smaller, yeah.
And here's a thing that I learned that I didn't know: the musical arrangements and the vocal arrangements and everything were done by a gentleman named James Raitt, who is the cousin of Bonnie Raitt's
Bonnie Raitt.
dad, John Raitt. So what do you call that to Bonnie?
Who just
Like a
won
second cousin or
just
something.
won album
First
of the
cousin
year
once
again
removed.
at the
Yeah.
Grammys.
Yes.
that we
So
just-
James Raitt was in the family. He did the vocal arrangements for Forever Plaid, and yep.
that's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, Matt. Oh God, why do I forget that name? What are you, Doormat? God, Doormat. Welcome, Matt.
Maybe we
Rolls off
should
the tongue.
change it
So
if
can I
we-
change it to Welcome, Matt?
Welcome,
Yeah,
Matt.
sure.
I have to ask Bob's permission.
No, he's your intern. I'm
It's
out
just
of here.
I can't remember Doormat for some reason. I
You
don't
can
even
call me
Doormat.
DM for short.
No, because then people will think it's like he's DMing you, and that's
Oh,
creepy.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Sliding into DMs.
I slide into anyone's DMs, please. So, welcome, Matt, as you're now going to be known. How are we doing so far? You picked the title. This is your first, live toast experience. We're almost halfway done now. How are things going from your perspective?
I feel like a true member of this
Don't
podcast.
get too comfy.
Yeah, I was
You're
gonna
not
say.
back here
Yeah.
next month.
I mean, if I might be an upcoming substitute for Bob,
Based on what, kid?
Welcome, Matt. Do you see what I'm holding in my hand right here? Tell us what it is. That's your first time.
bread.
It's toast, actually, but okay.
Well,
But bread is
close
toast.
enough.
Bread is toast. So this is like a
Toast
stuffy,
is hot
right?
bread,
This is
isn't
a stuffy
Yeah.
toast. Do you know why I have this? Is like the mascot of Toast. Toast, believe it or not, Toast used to feature two different gentlemen before Corey and Vance here took over. Do you know who gifted us this mascot for Toast?
No.
Okay. Well, what if I told you? Are you sitting down? What if I blew your mind right now by telling you, Moose Grumpy, your own mother gave us this.
No way!
Toast.
I need a moment. Toast.
Yeah.
Toast.
Toast.
I need a moment.
I need a moment. Okay, so let's get back to the jams. Any more words on Forever Plaid? I'm not trying to rush you at all. I have lots of time here.
Nope. Just happy to have it included in our conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Look, you're the man, Rob, honestly. Okay, so here we are now with Rob. No,
Bob.
although he is a Rob, because on LinkedIn I
Robert,
noticed
Robert.
he's Robert Willette.
Yes.
On LinkedIn. But here we are not on LinkedIn. He's Bob Willette. Bob, any words before I kick out your second jam?
I think this one will be a little bit like, although it did play it at the bigger theater, but I think this is a little off the beaten path as well. But and it had a couple runs here in Toronto. I don't think it was a touring one. I know it did tour, but we'll see. Well, that's about it. I'll leave it at that. Oh no, that's not it. I thought I had the wrong order. Never mind. Ignore everything I said. This is not off the beaten path at all.
Not off the beaten path, everybody. You got it?
Yeah.
I love this path.
Whoa.
shine. You come to win Miss Saigon. I gotta get my friend laid as a last souvenir. I love you, pal, but your bullshit I've had up to here. The heat is on in Saigon, but till they tell us we're gone, I'm gonna buy you a girl. You can't buy me a beer. Showtime!
The heat is on in Saigon.
Somebody, the guy sitting next to me, like played the actual piano on this, so or not maybe this version, but yes, this, yeah.
Well, we're gonna need his insights as
so
well.
here's my
Mr.
take.
Bob.
I'll give you the fan take on it as the guy, because of my exposure to those. Again, this is Claude Michael Schoenberg and Alan Boublil. They were originally written in French, right? Like they write the lyrics.
think so.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so they wrote all their and then somebody would have had to have translated to English and still kept a rhyming scheme, which is phenomenal when you think about it. But they built this theater. This is at the Princess of Wales Theater. Things were going so well in Toronto. They built this theater specifically for this production because the famous end scene, spoiler alert, there's like a life-size helicopter that comes down from the ceiling and onto the stage. And they built this theater for, and I can remember being a high school drama student and having a lot of conversations about whether or not it was excessive to build an entire theater for one production that's not going to be there forever. I mean, it's turned out to be just fine for the Mervishes. It's been okay, and I think they were involved in the original build, right? Like, it was totally them.
They totally designed it.
And so it's just down the street from the Royal Alex. So
Like
you
two blocks away.
2 blocks away. So you create this little theater district now, and. Again, same thing. Walking in. So this was my first time going into a more modern theater. You go in,
Brand new theater,
slick,
special design. Like back by Frank Stella. Designed.
Yes,
all the
that's
art.
right. Yes, and this particular the music in this again, same, very repetitive, same as but I find a show. There's a character. He's not the main character, but he's called the engineer.
Yeah,
and
he's sort of. Well, he's like the
he's the glue that keeps
he's
it
like
together.
the
He's the narrator, and I find if you have a strong engineer, you have an amazing production. If you have a guy who's not strong, I actually find this show can kind of drag a little bit almost because Kevin Gray was the guy who played.
He was our engineer.
He was our engineer.
He's on this recording too, right?
Yes,
he's on. It was the
Broadway. Yeah, this is the worldwide one, I think. Yes. So Kevin Gray played the engineer.
Yep.
And I remember being that much of a drama nerd, knowing when it was and going once and seeing the guy, and the guy was fine, the fill-in.
The understudy,
The understudy, thank you. But seeing Kevin Gray do it, and he basically made the character what it is. Because, again, is this another, it played here before it played Broadway? Or did it play?
Oh, no, it was already on Broadway.
It was already on Broadway. It was built
and it was already in London.
Right.
And
okay.
Well, sorry to interject.
No,
but
please.
Kevin was very different from who did originate. It was Jonathan Pryce, right? Who was like a different type of a British actor.
Right.
The two popes.
Yes.
Jonathan Pryce.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the original engineer.
Okay.
And so Kevin was like a whole different kind of a
his
persona.
energy was very different.
But it was amazing. Yeah, for sure.
So that's my take on it as being a drama student, drama nerd, doing,
Cool.
in high school doing like Little Abner and Music Man and Little Shop of Horrors, all that time. And then these are going on. And musicals were everything for me for a good 5 years in this.
And when Saigon came to Toronto, that was sort of the Mervish version of Garth renovating the Pantages, bringing in Phantom, because Miss Saigon was the hot new ticket, right? It only opened on Broadway in like 91.
Right.
So 2 years later,
it was
they
here.
built the theater, put in the show.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And you, what was your role?
I played keyboard. I played keyboard, the first keyboard, the piano.
Very first.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had just come off touring with Phantom of the Opera for 2 years across Canada with Jeff Hislop.
Oh,
and he was our Phantom.
Nice.
From today's special.
From today's special, exactly.
There you go.
So I left the tour. I was like, I need to like settle down. I'm going to move back to Burlington. And I heard Miss Saigon was coming to Toronto. And it was sort of weird that it was almost like back in my old days when I auditioned for Honeymoon Suite and like auditioned for The Spoons. And I called a friend of mine who I knew in the musical theater world. And he's like, well, Miss Saigon's coming. And I don't think they've hired the first keyboard yet. So I contacted the contractor and I auditioned for the part and I got the gig.
Amazing.
You were in The Spoons?
A long time ago. That was a whole other world. But I auditioned for Miss Saigon, and I played the show for 2 years, and it was just an exciting. It was 30 years ago this year, actually. We opened May 26th, 1993.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, will your show feature any Miss Saigon? Have you ever taken anything from those shows to play?
Not Miss Saigon. I would in
the
the future.
Moonshine Cafe show?
My
Yeah,
Moonshine, yeah. No, there's no Miss Saigon music involved, but there would be in the future for sure.
Yeah, great.
I mean,
It's some great songs.
Oh, there
in
really
there.
is.
Yeah.
Yep. And Jean Claude Michel and Alan,
Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yes, Jean-Claude Van
the
Damme.
composers.
The composers.
They came back and they were always tinkering with the show. They always wanted to like improve upon it. And about a year into the run, they called a big rehearsal and they changed the whole ending of the show.
What?
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. So I don't know if you had seen it or would remember, but they rewrote the whole death ending.
Really?
Yeah, the music, they weren't happy with it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I've seen a few different. I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's amazing.
It's the weirdest thing to me. Yeah.
You know what's weird? Like when I listen to that song, it barely sounds like the original by Glenn Fry, The Heat Is On. Like, it
I know.
sounds so
It's,
different.
well, it was different. It's a variation.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
This is the 12-inch version.
Welcome, Matt. Are you familiar with a Burlington band? Their heyday was the 80s, but you can still see them these days. But are you familiar with a band called The Spoons? Be honest with us. Have you heard of The Spoons?
I don't think I've ever heard that band name in my life. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
No, time moves on.
Yeah.
Time moves slowly, but carries on. It's okay, Matt. But has your mom heard of this?
Was that a Guess Who song you just sang there? Yeah. I got that.
I'm sorry, I didn't raise him right, Rob.
You took me by surprise. Yeah. You took them to the musical theater, but you didn't take
Laughing,
them to
ha 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 ha.
areas and symphonies and all that good stuff here. Okay, yeah, that's right. Great Winnipeg band. Okay, so that's okay, Matt. I mean, I'm trying to do the math here, but that would be like talking to Bob and I back in the day and like, do you remember this band from the 50s?
No, but we would have
Miller band.
But we would have known.
But we would have known it. Yeah, we would have known it though because we didn't have on demand. That's the biggest
true.
difference. Like that has changed. That's why kids don't.
Then that's another question for Welcome, Matt. Before we kick out the next jam, do you ever listen to terrestrial radio? Like over-the-air radio that you pull in through your radio.
Through a receiver.
Receiver, that's what it's called. Be honest. There's no shame in this game.
Not like
No.
barely ever.
You've never had a favorite radio station.
Yeah, no.
And you live in Mississauga?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've never been like, I like to wake up to Roz and Mocha on 92.5. No.
I can't say I have.
No, it's fine.
That's fine.
17 years old. Why would he?
Yeah.
So many other options.
Other world.
Okay, well, that's not going to change, right, Bob? Like, he's never going to listen to the radio if he's not listening now.
It's good.
I was just reading that they were going to phase out the radios in cars and stuff now, like
AM
That-
radio.
the AM and FM
Yeah,
possibly
yeah,
as well.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's been happening. They've been talking about that for a while. There's actually a whole.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, no. There's a whole conference in Detroit called Dash.
Okay.
And it's about the dashboard and it's about who can be who's and our position. I say our as radio as a guy who works in radio. How important it is that we're on that dashboard because if we're not, we're in huge trouble.
Well, then Freddie P's right. I wasted 2.5 hours of my life on Thursday night recording with this AM radio station. What was the point? It's dying. What was the point?
To help them, I think, and you got some content out of it.
I'm being funny, Bob. It's okay. It's all right. I was happy.
Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home.
On you. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. I hope we just need 20 more years radio, then Bob will be done. Okay. Okay, we're gonna get to 20 more years.
But I don't even think his audio comes just audio. He's YouTube.
Right.
No, absolutely.
All-
So many people discover new music now just through the YouTube algorithm.
Yep.
Absolutely, it's wonderful. Why wouldn't you?
What is your favorite music? Welcome, Matt. When you're listening to tunes, what are you listening to?
That is a question I will take to the grave unanswered.
Okay, well, shout out to Ridley
great.
Funeral Home.
Yeah,
Who's gonna kill him? Me or you, Bob?
Thanks for participating.
Well, that's okay. I can't shake that out. Apparently, I'm not allowed to rough you up. I was told
Yeah,
you can
you
rough up your
can't,
interns, but you're not allowed to do that because you're.
No, you can mentally abuse them, though. I think so.
Traumatize me.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going
Anyway.
to call him Bingo Matt from now on. Okay. All right, so guys, I'm really embarrassed because my third jam is going to be right in the right wheelhouse, but my second jam is a bit of a cheat because I was struggling to find jams I liked from the musical theater. But this is a bit of a cheat, but I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to explain why I'm playing it, and it's all going to make sense. Here we go. All right, we got some Buddy Holly here.
Yeah.
Shout out to Weezer. So I'm kicking out Rave On. And why am I doing that? Because in my research, my extensive research, I learned that Buddy, the Buddy Holly story, played Toronto in the 90s.
Yep.
Yep, it did. I remember my parents going to see it. I never saw it either.
Why didn't we see it?
I don't know.
It was another generation's musical.
Yeah, maybe.
It would be like a Spoons musical.
Yeah.
It'd be like, who's going to that? All the old people.
Moose would drag her son to the Spoons musical. For sure. I don't actually have the details. If anybody in the chat can tell me, I don't know where it played. It was obviously, I think, a smaller theater or whatever, but it was definitely playing in the 90s in Toronto, extended run.
Yeah, was it like a permanent? It wasn't a touring show. It was actually part of a longer stay.
I think so.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, so here's a fun fact. So, okay, of course, that's Buddy Holly. Okay, we all know Buddy. We lost him the day the music died. Okay, but did you know this is a bit of a mind blow? And I'm going to play a bit of a artist named Sonny West.
The little things you say and do, they make me wanna be with you. Rave on, it's a crazy feeling, and I know it's got me reeling when you say, I love you, rave on.
A little bit of a mind blow, maybe, is that this is the original version of Rave On, the first version released, and it was written by this gentleman, Sonny West. Rave On is a song by Sonny West and covered by Buddy Holly. Did you know that?
I did not, but
I did not know
it
that.
doesn't surprise me though. Like there's so many, especially in the 50s, there's so much of that going on where somebody here, I'm going to buy that song.
Totally.
Colonel would go grab somebody, that kind of thing.
And they don't waste much time covering songs back in the day, right? So this was recorded in 1958 by this gentleman, Sonny West, and then later that same calendar year, Buddy Holly jumps on it, and the Buddy Holly version became a big hit.
That's amazing.
It's one of his 6 charting singles in 1958. 1958 was a big year for Buddy Holly.
I just did some quick searching for the Toronto production. So it started in England. It's vaguely coming back to me, like remembering how that happened. It was in England first. The North American tryout was in Toronto before going to Broadway.
There you go.
Toronto was like the testing ground for the show. The guy who played Buddy was a guy named Paul Hipp, which now I remember he looked like Buddy Holly.
Right.
And he was, I think he did the show in London, came to Toronto, and then went to Broadway as well. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay. So, final little, not a more mind blow, but just a fun fact, I suppose. We'll bring down Sonny West. And anybody who had, listening to music in the 80s probably bought the soundtrack that featured this John Cougar Mellencamp song. We'll see who can name the soundtrack first.
Even my old grandma said you made me rave on. I don't wanna hide a baby. I'm proud to rave on.
Looking at you, Willette.
I don't know what soundtrack this is on.
Well, let's give it a moment. Maybe it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I'll bet you owned it.
Rave on.
I mean, 80s soundtracks.
An 80s soundtrack?
First
Sounds like it should be Dirty Dancing or something.
but it's not on Dirty
Yeah.
Dancing.
See, that's a great guess.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing, Footloose.
Yeah.
It's not on either of those.
Both
I
good
had
guesses,
both of
but you're
those.
like
Top Gun.
No.
it's not a bad guess. Moose, you want to make a guess?
Purple Rain.
La Bamba?
That's a good guess.
Oh, that is a good guess.
Because, of course, Richie Valens died.
Yeah.
The Big Bopper and Buddy Holly.
And Buddy Holly. They died the day the
La
music
Bamba's a
died.
very good movie. I don't care. La Bamba is a very
he's
good
really
movie.
He's
good.
Filipino.
Yeah.
Should he be playing a Mexican
That's right.
Lou Diamond
singer?
Phillips?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's acting. It's called acting.
It was the 80s.
Are you comfortable with that, Rob Preuss,
I
a
am-
Filipino gentleman?
I
of
am.
Filipino descent playing
It's
a
called
Mexican?
acting.
Yeah, it's called acting.
It's called acting.
I don't know. So same. It's like
Give us a hint. Give us a hint.
Flashdance, which is no.
I think a good hint is that you said Top Gun, right, Rob
Yeah,
Preuss?
yeah.
You've got the right actor.
Oh, Cocktail.
Cocktail.
Oh,
This would be
right to it.
Cocktail. Yeah,
Good job.
The Kokomo was on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Which for some reason, it's gonna maybe you'll be able to. For some reason, Kokomo has been stuck in my head after listening to the Les Mis song. I wonder if there's something. Yeah, I wonder if there's some sort of like.
Aruba, Jamaica. Take it to Bermuda, Bahamas.
Down, don't look 'em in the eye. I don't know why. It's like I feel like there's an association.
Also, now, Bob,
One day more.
I think
There's a mashup for you.
I think your mom told me this, but when you were a young man, you had a poster of John Stamos on your bedroom wall. Was that
No,
correct?
Hulk Hogan and Michael Jackson. Thank you. I'll fully admit
No
that.
John Stamos.
No, I wasn't an Uncle
Because you know
Jesse
he plays
guy.
drums on Coco.
Yeah, he plays with Beach Boys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. My mom says hi, by the way.
Okay, shout out to
Marlene.
Mrs. Bob's
Say
wife.
Marlene.
Mrs. Bob's mom. Not wife.
No, it's a mama.
Although, does your wife say hi too? No. Okay.
No, she hates you. No, I'm kidding.
Does she?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so yeah, John Cougar Mellencamp. I
So
think
the
he was only
cocktail.
John Mellencamp.
Right.
I don't know if he had Cougar going on
John
there.
Camp Cougar Melon.
Yeah, it was very confusing for me. He was John Cougar.
Yeah.
Then he was John Cougar Mellencamp, and then he was
Yeah.
John Mellencamp.
And now he's John Camp Cougar Melon. That's the school camp he started for.
He's like a poor
underprivileged children.
man's Bruce Springsteen, right?
I guess.
It's fine. Yeah,
I never said he was shit. I just
Yeah.
said he's a poor man's Bruce Springsteen.
I guess. He doesn't have the band back up, right? Like he's
Yeah.
always.
No little big man going on.
Yeah.
John Cougar Mellencamp and the F Street Band.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. F Avenue.
Woo! Brad Faye's on the road right now seeing Bruce Springsteen.
Cool.
That's
I heard his new shows are amazing. Like,
oh yeah, he's like 70 something years old. Right, he goes like
Cut him
3
down though.
hours.
He's did same thing as Pearl Jam. He's not doing the 3-hour shows anymore. He's brought it down quite a bit.
like maybe 20 minutes shaved off that.
Yeah, maybe 20. Not a time. Pearl Jam's still, they're still doing big long sets, but not the 3+ hour shows anymore.
wow.
Hey, so before I kick out Rob Preuss's final jam, I can't believe we're at the final jams already. It just seems to have
flown
gone very
by.
quickly. I think that's because Welcome Matt has been such a bright light.
Yeah.
Like,
Hello.
honestly, you might have to come back next month. I'm not sure we could do this show without you. And also, I like my coffee black.
Yeah.
Black coffee.
And not too much starch in the laundry.
Not too much starch.
I don't know what that means. What is starch? Like I always heard in movies and stuff, like too much starch or whatever. But where's the starch going? Is that like
kidding,
Moose?
right?
Do you know?
It goes on your collar.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
isn't
supposed to-
that
because I
interesting
don't
that
own
you
any-
looked at me?
That's a good point. Why'd you ask the
Yeah.
woman?
That's the whole
Because you're the smart one in this room. I don't
believe,
own any
Jake
collars.
Garmpy is listening to the feed, and he is the laundry fellow in the house.
I will say this. Growing up, I thought ring around the collar would be a much bigger problem than it is. You know, every commercial had ring around the collar was a big
Right.
thing.
Ring
Yeah.
around the collar.
Do you have to when you go to like important radio meetings? Do you have a collared shirt on, Bob?
I wear collared shirts, yes. Not all the time. It depends on what's going on.
I eat collard greens
Oh, I love collared greens.
Do you, Rob Preuss, ever wear collared shirts?
once in a while.
Like weddings?
Yeah, funerals,
mitzvahs.
weddings, funerals.
All right.
Easter.
guys-
I wore one yesterday. Actually.
Did you? Oh,
When I
nice.
was eating my palma
I
pasta.
can't remember the
There you
last
go.
time. I'm actually invited to a wedding in July, and I'm wondering, do I have to wear a collared
You
shirt?
should.
It's been a long time since I wore
It'll
a
feel
collared
nice. Yeah, you'll look good.
shirt. Okay, do you remember that song, Lipstick on Your Collar? Oh, a tale on you.
Is that Tammy
Lipstick on
Wynette?
your- I don't know who it is, actually. Now, I'll have to Google it during this next jam here. But I have a little Simpsons that I'm going to play, and then I'm
Which
going
we
to go...
started with as well.
Right, which we opened with. I'm going to play a little Simpsons, and then I'm going to right away start kicking out Rob Preuss's final jam.
All right.
So here we go.
We've only brought in $5, and that came from Mr. Flanders buying back his own stuff.
My LP of Dreamcoat. How I love my coat of many colors. It was red and yellow and green and brown and scarlet and black and ochre and peach and ruby and olive and violet and lilac and gold and chocolate and mauve and cream and crimson and silver and rose and azure and lemon and russet and gray and gold. And purple and white and pink and orange and
blue.
red and yellow
whoa.
and green and brown, scarlet and black and ochre and peach.
My yard sale is a failure. I guess I'll have to give everything to the Salvation Army.
We don't want it.
That's mine.
No?
That's mine.
Oh, for God's sakes, I'm embarrassed. Pretend you didn't hear that, okay?
I didn't hear
We'll
that.
fix it in post.
Nobody
Matt,
knows
don't
what it
worry.
is except for Rob anyway.
I just assumed that was some kind of a Technicolor song. What do I know? Okay.
There you go.
Shouldn't let the intern work the board.
Yeah. Doormat's fault. Whatever the hell his name. Whatever the
I
hell.
told
his
you I
name.
was
What did you
lost.
do?
Doormat, welcome Matt, same
Welcome,
thing.
Matt.
I told you. I don't know what these songs mean. A little low in the mix too. I'll boost it in post.
Some just don't have anything planned. They hide their hopes and their heads in the sand. Now I don't say who is wrong, who is right, but if by chance you are here for the night, then all I need is an hour or two to tell the tale of a dreamer like you. We all dream a lot. Some are lucky, some are not. But if you think it, want it, dream it, then it's real. You are what you feel. But all that I say can be told another way, in the story of a boy whose dream came true, and it could be you.
I closed my eyes. Drew back the curtain to see for certain what I thought I knew. Far, far away, someone was weeping, but the world was sleeping. Any dream will do. I wore my coat, with golden lining, bright colors shining, wonderful and new. And in the east, the dawn was breaking, and the world was waking. Any dream will do. A crash of drums, a flash of light. My golden coat flew out of sight. The colors faded into darkness. I was left alone. May I return? May I return to the beginning? The light is dimming, and the dream is too. The world and I, we are still waiting, still hesitating. Any dream will do. Any dream. Any dream.
Wow.
Any dream will do. Any dream. Any dream. Any dream will do.
Thank you.
Mike, that was
Honestly,
amazing.
thank you guys.
You got it right away. You were singing along. You knew it.
Wow. Okay, talk to me, Rob Preuss, about this fine song from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor. That was, I believe, the first Mervish production that came in after Phantom had started, and he brought it in from England. It was a huge success. The newer version was playing in London, but Garth brought Donny Osmond in to be the star to play Joseph, and it opened in '92 at the Winter Garden Theater.
Wow.
Was that the first one that came to the Winter Garden once it was refurbished? I think he was doing the Winter Garden and the Elgin around the same time.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
I saw it at the Elgin.
Winter Garden.
Yeah.
Elgin. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Elgin.
Yes.
The main,
That's right.
the bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Winter Garden does. I don't think it has a.
It was the small one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, Canada Kev points out that Donny Osmond is a little bit rock and roll.
Yeah. He's not a little bit country. Well, he's a little bit country.
And Leslie says Donny Osmond shares the same birthday as her.
There you go.
And I've heard Donnie talk about the fact that this show came along in his life. I mean, he was in his early mid 30s, I guess, at that point, and had been for many years a teen idol and all that. But this show sort of gave him another life in his musical career and kept him going. Like it's funny. I remember when it was starting, and we. On the Phantom tour, we all were in Toronto like for some time off, and I remember going to see like the preview performance or something, and it was so exciting to see the show because I didn't really know the show. But Andrew Lloyd Webber, it was the very first musical he wrote when he was a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Started off as like a 20-minute musical for his high school, and then he kept expanding it and expanding it.
Yeah, him and Tim Rice. That
Yeah.
was their first time, and like my favorite musical of all time is Jesus Christ Superstar.
Me too.
And the movie is I just listened to it the other day in the car.
Oh, nice.
But so
For Easter.
Yes, of course, for Easter. Yeah, it's like my.
Tis the season.
Yes, tis the Jesus dying season.
Yeah.
So watching.
Don't worry, he comes back.
I know.
We heard.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Exactly. But thinking about, I've heard Andrew Lloyd Webber talking about that particular thing, that Joseph was the first thing they did.
Wow.
And they were also, they weren't just writing it. They were talking about how it was going to be staged too, because he talked about, going back to me talking about the Les Mis using the rotating stage, they would use an old record player as the stage. Like they'd make models. And when they first started, cool. And that's how they kind of came up with that. They came up with that idea.
Amazing.
And using that. And then, the next musical they wrote together was Jesus Christ Superstar.
That's amazing.
That,
Yeah, so Joseph became a favorite of mine, and I got to do the show in the late 90s. I did it in 98 in Salt Lake City with Donnie.
Oh, wow.
So he did the show in Toronto.
That's the land of the Mormons.
Exactly, the land of the Osmonds. So he did the show in Toronto from 92 to 97, basically, and then he left the show, and then he didn't do it again, and then the next year, the tour was still going on, and they came to Salt Lake City, and he's like, I'd like to do it in my hometown. And I got to play the keyboard for that.
Wow. What an honor for you.
Yeah, it was super cool. And Marie came in the pit, and she like snuck beside me
Get
one
in
night.
the pit and try to love someone.
And she got up on the conductor's podium to like make Donnie laugh at the end of one of the shows.
Oh, that's great.
Super cool. Yeah. It was fun.
Okay. It's funny. Just last time we did Toast, which wasn't that long ago, my brother was over yesterday because my son's 9th birthday party. And then I said, oh, what's going on tomorrow? I go, yeah, Toast is back. He goes, didn't we just do Toast?
Yeah, we did.
It was a little close, yeah.
And I said, well, Rob Preuss is in town, so we have to.
Yeah, we were a week late because, so
that's right.
Yeah,
a week late and then a week early.
Yeah.
But we kicked out Carpenters last time, right? So I
Yes,
would say
we did those spring
Carpenters.
jams.
That's brother, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the Osmonds,
Yes.
right? Which are, well, okay, so what's her name? Who's the Osmond that we're talking about?
Marie.
Marie, okay. Marie's not in the Osmonds, right? The Osmonds are the boys?
It was the boys, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Murray wasn't invited in that
No,
group.
but she and Donnie had many hits in the 70s. When I was a little kid,
absolutely.
I had some of their singles that I loved.
Is that a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll?
That was on their TV show. Yeah.
Right.
I think I have Puppy Love on vinyl.
That was Donnie, yeah.
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 Wow.
Marie
okay.
did a cover of Paper Roses when she was a kid. It was a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And they had some duets they did together as well.
So what other Josephs did you get to work with? Because for a while there, it was like a rotating cast of former pop stars.
That's the only one I did.
David Cassidy. And
That's right. David did it in New York, I think, as well.
Michael Damian.
Did he? Oh, yeah, he did the tour as well. That's right. Michael Damian.
Yeah.
Danny Romalotti.
Right. That's right.
Is that just like soap opera?
That's his Y&R name.
I know him. He did the cover of Rock On.
Yes.
Like
It was good.
Yeah, it was on CFTR.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And what else? Rock. There's some connection there. Who was the other actor we just named before Michael Damian?
John Stamos.
David Cassidy.
David Cassidy.
Okay,
And
so,
our next song has a David Cassidy.
okay, then we're going to get to the next
connection
jam.
as
But
well.
David Cassidy owned a horse, and FOTM Perry Lefko suggested he name the horse Peter the Gross after Peter Gross, who was big on
He
horses.
suggested
still
it
is.
to David Cassidy?
And David Cassidy said, okay. So David Cassidy owned Peter the Gross.
No way.
And that's all named after
There you go.
FOTM Hall of Famer Peter Gross. I want to say hi to Canada Kev. Not only did he help me get my car out of the snow last time I saw Rob Preuss live in Oakville at the Moonshine Cafe, but he's here on the live stream.
Amazing.
He's
Hi, Canada
what's he
Kev.
saying here? Yeah, he's a good boy. And Ian Service here, who loves that song we just kicked out and says that Donny Osmond was the man for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a big moment there.
Yep.
All right. You ready, Bob?
Yeah,
Anything
yeah,
to
for
say
sure.
before I kick this last one?
No, again, now going back to this one's a little off the beaten path. I think we
just heard it about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, we heard about 20 seconds of it. It was so this did play at the Royal Alex Theatre a couple times, and with a couple different casts. And I know again we have another connection with Rob Preuss here, but this really stood out to me.
Oh yeah.
Tell me it's not true. Say it's just a story. Something on the news. Tell me it's not true. Though it's here before me, say it's just a dream, say it's just a scene from an old movie from years ago, from an old movie with Marilyn Monroe. Say it's just some clown, two players in the limelight, and bring the curtain down. Say it's just two clowns who couldn't get their lives right. Say it's just a show on the radio that we can turn over and start again. That we can turn over.
I'm going to ask Moose Grumpy if she has any idea what this is, because I know Rob knows it. So I'm not alone here. Okay. Oh, whoa, hold on, it's beefing up here. Hold on.
This is not, admittedly, not the best. I don't know if this is what version I sent you here. But
It's good though. It's still, it's still good.
All right, it's what is this, Bob?
So this is the final song of a play called Blood Brothers, which is this is called "Tell Me It's Not True," I believe is the name of the song.
Tell me it's not true.
Yeah, this is written by a guy by the name of Willie Russell, and he also played the narrator on in London's West End. He played him his own. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So the version I saw of this show that I remember, and the reason why it stood out to me was so it had an American touring and a version with David and Sean Cassidy and Petula Clark playing the mom, the voice. Yeah.
More Cassidy talk.
Yeah. And the one I saw come through had David Cassidy in it. With Amy Skye playing. That's right. Amy Skye playing the female voice.
FOTM Amy Skye.
Yeah, and Michael Burgess was the narrator for this. So again, the guy who played Jean Valjean, very well known in the city, sang a lot of Toronto Maple Leaf game anthems. So it's a story about a set of twins that are separated at birth. And it's heavily steeped in a lot of. There's a whole song about shoes upon the table. There's a whole thing bad luck, and about how it's bad luck. It's like obviously to separate. It's about a poor London woman who she has to give one of her kids up. She can't keep both. She can't afford it. And then there's the old wives' tale of if ever the twins meet, they will die. Like that they will. The twins who are separated at birth will die. And I live like
it was like an old wives' tale.
It's an old wives'. Yeah, exactly. So I can still remember seeing the ads in the newspaper. Remember newspapers? And it said 27 performances, 27 standing ovations, and I was like, "Wow, they're just bragging. Maybe I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna stand up. Maybe I'll stand up if I want to stand up." And if you've been to the theater, you know that often usually the standing ovation comes at the end of the curtain call. So the thing ends, everybody's done, people start coming out, and then when usually the two leads come out, everybody stands up and they do This is the only show. Well, not the only. I've seen something else, but one of the only shows when that last note hits and everything's done and it goes dark. You are so compelled to stand up. It is such a phenomenal ending.
Isn't it crazy?
It is one of the most powerful moments I've ever had in a live theater. Is the end of Blood Brothers. The whole show's good. The end of it makes the show.
But it's because
great.
of the ending.
Oh
because of the
God!
ending.
The ending is so good. I dare you to see a good production of this and not stand up. It's that good.
But it's because of the writing. Really, it's the story and the subject matter as well.
Would Cam Gordon applaud at the end of Blood Brothers?
Well, he's dead inside, so it's hard to say.
It's not about laughing. It's not about being happy.
Oh, that's true.
It's about feeling the emotion.
I still can't imagine it. I'm just closing my eyes. I don't see him. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But
Who knows?
and you played.
I played the show.
Yeah.
So when it came to Toronto, it was the spring of '93 that it started. Yeah. And I had just come off. So I just told you the story about auditioning for Miss Saigon. Yeah. While that happened, I got the job of playing Blood Brothers at the Royal Alex.
Yes.
And I didn't know anything about it, but it's like the show's coming in, and it was a limited run at that point. Yes. And what they did was they brought in the original London cast.
Right.
So the woman I think singing on this version was Stephanie Lawrence.
Right.
She played the mom.
Okay.
The guy who played the one brother was named Con O'Neill.
Yes.
And so it was all British, and then they replaced them all with the people you mentioned.
Yes.
So I think the show closed, and then it became a touring production, and then they reopened, and Cassidy came back, and it was at the Alex again.
Yes.
But I had that same experience. The band, it was a small band. It was like an 8-piece band. We were up. Remember the set was like an apartment building?
Yes.
The two sides, and there were windows. We were on one side. I was on the side with the woodwinds and maybe a violin or something.
Right.
No, there was no violin. It was woodwinds and saxophone and stuff. The other side across the stage was the conductor playing keyboard, the other keyboard, and the drummer and the bass player. So I had a little monitor to see the conductor.
Right.
But out the window, I could watch the show.
Wow.
Every performance I
Wow.
watched. And I had that experience every time.
It's amazing.
And like I was in tears
Blood
at the end of
Brothers.
every
Yes.
show, even though I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
They were
It's
so
so
freaking
good.
good.
Yes.
And like I got to watch the audience have that experience every
Yeah.
time, but playing the music was the same. It was like that exciting, and it was like
It was
an honor.
exhausting, I
Yeah.
bet.
Oh,
Yeah.
it really was.
Yeah.
But I loved it so much.
It's
Yeah.
a great show. It was first done in '83. It's not.
Yes.
It's like a 40-year-old show.
Yeah.
But it's just timeless.
But it's like a play with some music.
Yes, yeah,
Because
it's
the
not-
fact that the playwright wrote the music makes it sort of interesting that it's so well interspersed into the show, right?
I'm sold. Like, where is this right now?
Nowhere.
Like, I
It's
need to
nowhere
see
right
the-
now.
I need to
I don't
fucking
think
see
there's
it
any
right now.
productions of it. And
No.
I was looking it up. It was in London's West End in 2019. Was the last
I think they do keep coming, and I think they keep bringing it back in London. And at one point, it was like one of the longest running musicals too, because they kept
20 years. It played 20
Yeah.
years in London's West End.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well, you guys did a good
Blood
sales
Brothers.
job
And I
on
picked that
one.
song as
Holy
well, and I got
smokes.
bumped.
Did you? Oh,
Yes.
you got
Oh,
bumped?
that's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's the
couldn't
one.
remember what it was.
You had already got it.
So I just want to say quickly, like I also wanted to talk Rent. I
Yeah.
don't know, like
Yeah.
I think Rent was one of my favorites from the 90s.
Yep.
It would have played later 90s, obviously.
Yes, for
but,
sure.
There was it was really hard. I wanted to include those two Saigon, like the two bigger ones because of how big they were in the city.
Exactly.
And then this.
Well, we're not done yet. You know, I get one more jam here. So when we introduce, see, Rob, I'm here too,
You're there.
man. Okay, you guys overlooking me here because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I will say this.
Yeah, but
when
you did Showboat. Showboat was a really good one.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was what musicals played Toronto in the 1990s. That was the first step, and then I had a list, and then I looked at them and said, do I know any songs from any of these musicals? And one did jump at me, and there was a song I knew. Like, this is a song I knew. It transcended the stage,
Right.
and it's made its way into the zeitgeist. And I pulled it down and said, I like the song, and it got parodied everywhere. And it was just one of those songs where I thought, okay, I'm gonna close with this jam because I legit like this song. Are you ready? Are you ready? Welcome, Matt. Are you ready for my final jam? Are you ready, Moose Grumpy? Are you ready?
You need to hear that cheering.
Where are you, Moose Grumpy? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready, Bob Willette, for my final jam?
Let's do this. I'm
Rob
looking forward to
Preuss,
it.
Ready.
Mr. Musical. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
This is a jam right here. This is a good fucking song.
Bring it up.
525,600 minutes. 525,000 moments, oh dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, and laughter and strife. In 525,600 minutes, how do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about
See, this is a jam, right, Matt? He's not. Yeah, this is a good song. I'm not saying all those songs weren't good.
Oh, they all suck. I hate them all.
Well, I took a few naps, okay? This fucking song, Seasons of Love, okay? Jonathan Larson. This is from Rent. Rent is like, and I haven't seen Rent, but I saw Tick Tick Boom, the movie. Did anyone else here see Tick Tick Boom?
No.
You should see it, Bob. You'd love Tick
What
Tick
is it?
Boom. It's about the guy, Jonathan,
it's about Jonathan Larson. Oh.
Because
Yep.
he dies like the night before
Yep.
this thing
Yeah,
debuts or whatever on Broadway. So,
Yep.
okay. So go see Tick Tick Boom. It's fucking great. It's got Andrew Garfield.
Oh, cool.
And he's really good.
I
in
know
it.
about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great. Listen to this fucking song. This is a good jam. So, lyrics, music, it's all Jonathan Larson. It's based on some opera from 1896, but it tells not that AIDS was around in 1896, but it tells the story of a group of impoverished young artists struggling to survive and create a life in Lower Manhattan's East Village in the thriving days of Bohemian Alphabet City under the shadow of HIV and AIDS, okay? So this jam, it's a big fucking jam. We're gonna
when we were gonna kick out sad jams, I was gonna pick one song, "Glory," from this soundtrack.
From Rent.
Yeah, from Rent, because it's an unbelievably sad song.
So I believe this is a Mervish presentation from 1997, 1998, maybe 96. But do you know Rob Preuss? Is my about right? This is a Mervish.
Year?
Yeah, like we're probably mid to late 90s.
It's hard to say when it came here because I believe it started in New York in
96
95,
maybe.
96. If only there was a device that was small and portable that we could type into.
Actually,
It's a Mervish presentation.
Can I tell you my Rent story?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'm gonna do some mind blows.
So I have a couple Rent stories, but my first Rent story is I'm such a nerd. Again, it's 1998.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I take my car, my 1975 Buick Century, which I bought off 75
Wow.
Buick Century. We drive down, and they tickets go on sale at the Royal Alex.
Okay.
And yes, and they did a first 100 people get a free CD, get a this that. So I'm such a nerd. Me and my buddy go down to do this at like 6 a.m. I left the bingo hall. Yeah. You know, we went and had some lovely. We left
97.
Yeah.
You could have said that in the microphone, Moose. You're making me read what's going on here. Even your son knows
but
that's
when
not how it
tickets
works.
first went on sale, so you could line up if you went, and so I got them. And while we were in that lineup, the Tragically Hip announced a show at the concert hall at the Masonic Temple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and it was one of you had to line up to go get that. So I went from there,
you went from
getting
Rent.
Wild.
to go line up to go and saw the Tragically Hip that night.
That's amazing.
At the concert
That's
hall.
amazing,
And
yeah.
and up in this,
Wow.
and we took two people from the lineup with us.
Oh my God, that's
Because
cool.
we had the radio on, and it
Wow.
was on Edge 102 when Humble and
Yeah.
Fred announced.
Wow.
I wasn't an intern then yet in '97.
Wow.
And then off we went.
That's
up
Were
to
they
the
number
cool.
one in 97?
They were number one in '97. Then I got there; they were never number one again. Yeah,
Coincidence?
Yeah, maybe.
I
I hope.
think
I
not.
hope coincidence.
Number one, though, but in that demo, if you drill in, it's,
Yeah.
like
1834.
Yeah,
Man.
Wow.
dudes 1834 who also like hockey and
No, they were legit number one in 1834. Beyond that, no.
But everyone's number one in radio. Like they just have to find that demo.
You can
and
say,
number
any
one.
marketing, any marketer can do that with anything. No, but
Shout out to the Moment Lab. Sorry, go ahead. But
No,
that's
no.
an amazing story.
and then, but
Then
just to
never mind.
top it off, to make it the most Toronto experience possible, we get there early so we can get in. We get up in there's like a side loft kind of balcony area because it was at the concert hall. And at the end of our row is Ty Domi, Darcy Tucker, Kurt, not
Swinghammer.
No,
Russell.
Not Kurt Russell. He's former Montreal Canadian, Toronto Maple Leaf.
Muller.
Kurt Muller. All the
Muller.
not Kurt. Yeah,
From
that's right.
Kingston,
Kirk.
Ontario.
Yeah, a whole bunch of Leafs. So we ended up drinking beers with a whole bunch of Leafs, watching the tragedy we had.
I love it.
And all because I was already awake in the morning to line up to get tickets to see Rent.
That's an
Thank you,
amazing.
Rent.
Steve Leggett's on the live stream, live.torontomike.com, and says that this song, Seasons of Love, does nothing for him. I will tell you, I'm not a big musical guy. I'm learning a lot, loving it. But that song does something for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think Seasons of Love is a great song and powerful, packs a punch, and it's like, boom, it lifts me up. My heart rate goes up. I'm digging it.
Nice.
Now, it was, I'm going to just do a little fun fact about one of the many great parodies of that song. Was anybody watching the episode of The Office when Michael Scott left?
By his own admission, this person actually tried marijuana in college, so the Doobie Doobie Pothead Stoner of the Year Award goes to Andy Bernard!
There's a lot of people I'd like to thank, but I think we all actually want to thank you, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, we actually really all want to thank you for everything.
Oh my God, something's happening.
9,986,000 minutes. We actually sat down and did the math.
9,986,000 minutes. That's how many minutes that you've worked here.
In costumes,
And impressions.
In meetings.
in cups of coffee,
For birthdays. More meetings and.
email forwards you made us read.
9,986,000 minutes. That's like watching Die Hard 80,000 times.
You hit me with your car.
You help me get off drugs. I watch you when you sleep.
I forgive you for kissing me.
Remember to call. Remember to call. Remember to call.
Text or call or email or call.
Measure your life in love.
That's Will Ferrell, by the way.
Remember to call. Remember to call.
You got to remember to call.
Remember to call.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
That's good.
There you go. And that was actually a great episode of The Office. Now, one last thing.
The Office lore is that Steve Carell didn't know that was going to happen.
See, that's why Moose is here. She knows the lore. Love it. That, you know what? Even makes it pack a bigger punch. Sorry, Steve Leggett, but it does pack a punch, okay? Now, when I think of parodies of that song from Rent, I actually always think of this.
Everyone has AIDS. AIDS, AIDS, AIDS. AIDS, 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 AIDS. Everyone has AIDS. And so this is the end of our story. And everyone is dead from AIDS. It took from me my best friend, my only true pal, my only bright star. Well, I'm gonna march on Washington, lead the fight and charge the brigades. There's a hero inside of all of us. I'll make them see everyone has AIDS. My father, AIDS. My sister, AIDS. My uncle and my cousin and her best friend. AIDS, AIDS, the gays and the straights and the whites and the spades. Everyone has AIDS. Wow. My grandma and my doggo blue. AIDS, AIDS, AIDS. The Pope has got it and so do you. AIDS, 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 come on, everybody, we got quilting to do. We're gonna break down these barricades. Everyone has AIDS, 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 AIDS.
Welcome, Matt. Did you ever see Team America, World Police?
I think a single clip several years ago.
Was it that sex clip? The sex scene. That's one of the epic sex scenes in cinema history. Is that what you saw?
Don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
good. 'Cause your mom's right there. Did anyone else here see Team America, World Police?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
America,
just,
fuck
just
yeah.
checking, just checking. Okay, welcome, Matt. So we're done our jams now. You chose the topic. Did we deliver? Assess. Be honest. Did we deliver?
One of your songs is a bit of a stretch since you said it was like 1987.
Which one was that?
I'm actually offended right now, welcome, Matt. No lasagna for you. You just blew it. All of my jams are from musical productions that played in Toronto in the 1990s. I followed the rules to a T. So if you don't have any more information on where I went wrong, I'm going to have to mute your microphone.
No, please.
Wow. You're hardcore, bud.
Bob, did you have a good time? You guys, you and Rob were and
It
you
was
too,
good.
Moose.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You're
nice.
knowledgeable on this shit.
It's
good.
He knows his shit.
was fun.
It's neat talking to some. Like I said, I'm a passionate music fan. I can't play any music, but I know I feel like I can tell when something has a visceral reaction, and sitting next to somebody who's played it and really having that conversation, it's great. I feel very very fortunate to have such a conversation.
When is Rob Preuss going to be in your basement?
Yeah, good question.
we're
You
gonna
know
have to
what?
figure that out.
Yeah, you know what? We my basement.
Just record it now. I'll finish this and you can
Sure.
record it.
Yeah. Do you have the intro there for
I'll
me?
sing- no, you can do it in post.
Yeah.
It's fun to talk about Toronto musicals, though, but you are correct. Walmart.
Welcome, Matt. Walmart. That's his name.
Walmart.
Welcome, Matt.
Because some of these musicals did begin in the 80s, but it took a while to get them into Toronto, right? Which, like,
they also played in the 90s. There was no rules that
Played
said
in
they
the
couldn't
90s.
play in
That's
the
right.
80s.
Exactly.
They just had to play in the 90s.
That's right. Because sometimes it's a catch-up game when a show starts either in New York or in London. It takes a little while to get it moving somewhere else. So we were always playing catch-up. Mind you, some of them, like Your Showboat, which began in Toronto in the 90s, was something that it began in the 20s. So already it's like, oh my God, it's so many years old.
Oh, yeah.
But it was alive in the 90s.
Want to hear some more productions that we didn't touch on, but City of Angels.
Yes.
That played at the O'Keefe in the summer of 92.
What's it called? Crazy for You?
Crazy for You, and then Murphy's production.
Yep.
Lots of
That was
honest
good.
posters.
Yep.
The Will Rogers Follies. Okay. Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yes. Developed by Drabinsky again. Yeah.
Wow. Passion.
Beauty and the Beast.
Do you guys
Beauty
know
and the Beast?
Passion?
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't know about Beauty and the Beast. Is that true?
Beauty and the
90s?
Beast and Lion King.
I
Both
played
were
Beauty
in
and the Beast.
Okay, of course, of course.
They had longer.
Lion King was 2000.
2000.
Okay.
Sunset Boulevard. We talked about that.
That was Andrew Lloyd Webber a jam up at the Ford Center.
What about Titanic? Did that?
Yes,
I never saw it. But
no, who was not good.
Yeah.
It was
Not good.
no.
Okay, you mentioned Lion King. Fosse.
Production of Fosse would have been that might be 80s.
I have it as premiering in the summer of 1998.
Oh wow,
that's amazing.
And then,
And I mean, there were touring productions that came through Toronto as well.
so many.
Like I played a production of Starlight Express, which was an obscure Angela Weber.
Express.
And I came to the O'Keefe Center in I played it in the summer of '90, so it was in the '90s, but it was a touring production.
I wanted to, so we talked about. I saw a touring version at the O'Keefe Center of Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely and Carl Anderson.
I saw that up at the Danforth Music Hall. They came back. as well.
Yes, I saw that. That one just had Ted Neely, didn't have Carl Anderson. That one.
Oh no! You know who it was? Dennis DeYoung.
It was Dennis DeYoung from Styx. Was
Oh
there?
my
yeah.
God!
Wow.
That
He
was
played
amazing.
Pontius Pilate.
Yeah.
But now that Mike
Sorry.
has the taste of
Yeah.
musical theater, can we get a deep dive with Rob and just Phantom?
Sure, I'll come back and play. Well, Phantom's closing on Broadway.
Maybe
this
Toronto
weekend.
Moose. Episode 1.
It feels like a big gaping hole to me tonight. I could have talked.
We didn't talk about
I could
Phantom at
talk
all.
about Phantom all night.
Phantom and Cats both.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you want to
Stravinsky
do
too, right?
like I can play down? I can fade this down if you want to do 5 minutes on that for Moose. You want to?
On what?
I don't know. What are we talking about? Phantom?
You got
Moose?
questions? Do you have questions, Moose?
Yeah, be specific because I will fade this down.
Have you ever done this before? Have you ever faded the
I'm
end
sure
song?
I have. It's been
long
1,234
song.
episodes. I'm sure it's happened. So Moose is going to ask Rob some specific questions. She's checking the notes on her phone.
No, it's not. It's not specific questions.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just the music.
The Phantom, the music of Phantom.
It just.
Did you write the music in Phantom, Rob?
Well, not all of it. I mean, I gave the credit to Andrew.
Not all of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, Andrew wanted final say, like so it was his name. But so I'm sort of
And this may be sacrilegious to a lot of Phantom fans, but
Yeah.
Sarah Brightman wasn't my favorite. I enjoyed it much more in Toronto
with Rebecca
this-
Kane.
Yes.
Yes.
With
And our Phantom.
slightly less of soprano. It
Yeah,
was just,
for sure. When I did the tour with Jeff Hislop from
Today's special.
Yeah, our Christine was named Patty Cohenauer, and she was the alternate Christine on Broadway. And then Garth got her up to Toronto to do the tour, and so we were in Vancouver and in Calgary. She was amazing too. But yeah, Sarah was a little her sound was a little extreme soprano.
One of my not proud moments was Phantom, though, when it came back through Toronto in 2006. I
Yeah.
had a 5-month-old
Goo
who didn't sleep through the night,
Yeah.
and we went to Phantom, and it was lovely and
You
warm
fell
and
asleep.
comfortable in the seats.
Wow.
And when the chandelier, spoiler alert, crashes, that's
Yeah.
when I woke up.
No.
Oh man!
I slept-
Before you say it.
Yeah. I actually slept through the first act of
Crazy,
Phantom because
crazy.
I was
Wow.
just
It gets a
that
little, it can get a little sleepy.
I think Phantom's a little sleepy. I'll be honest.
Especially Act 2.
Yeah.
Wishing you were somehow here again. I mean, it's a dark moment before it picks up to the
It's
end.
overrated, right, Bob?
Yeah.
It's personally not even in my top 10 favorite
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
musicals.
Me neither,
I don't enjoy it.
I did get to play the show with Paul Stanley from Kiss
Oh,
when he
that's
came
cool.
in. That was
Oh,
super
that
cool.
would be
Wow.
He
awesome.
came in
That would be
in 99 or 2000. I can't
that.
when it, and I got to play a few shows with that because 2 of my friends were the leads with him, and I got to meet him after, like backstage in his dressing room, and that was exciting.
Any last questions for Rob Preuss
Yeah.
from you, Moose Grumpy? This is your moment here. I'm not going to do an episode on this. Like, if you have a
Right.
question now, now's the time. Now's the fucking
Rob,
time.
Rob and I can talk off.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay.
We'll
Is
talk.
it? Okay.
This conversation will continue.
I want you to be fulfilled by your visit to my basement, Moose.
Thank you for coming.
Phrasing, Michael. All right. And thank you. Jeez. Thank you. Welcome, Matt. You did a great job, and I
Sitting there and
enjoyed
doing
meeting you and having
Thank
you
you
here.
for suggesting it.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
problem.
yeah, that was a good one for us.
So have you decided to change careers now that you were...
How do you feel about being around all these wonderful journalists?
I think I'm the most journalist of the group.
You're actually a journalist. You are.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you, Rob.
You are.
I've never been in a room with more journalist like people. I've never been in a room with journalists, so you are off to a great start here.
If you were here last week, I had both David Schultz and Gear Joyce here.
Ah.
2 journalists.
He has no idea who they are.
Yeah, I have no idea who they are. As I said, this interest was very
He's not
spur
alone.
of the moment.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,234th show. 1234. Wow.
Almost 12:36.
12. I'm getting so many fucking questions, emails, tweets about 1236, 1236. Mark Weisblatt's not my guest for 1236. Not that he's not invited, but he doesn't want to come over for 1236. So stop asking me. Because it's starting to sound like I've kicked him out or
Right.
something. The door's open. He's got a key. He can come here. He can come here. He can do every episode. I can't make him come here. Am I supposed to kidnap him and tie him up?
Yes.
And that's how I got welcome at in my basement. But okay, I've said too much. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Rob is at Rob Preuss X. The X is important. Bob is at Bob Willette. Rhymes of Gillette. It's Willette. Matt, are you anywhere? Like, how can we follow you? Are you on Instagram? Where are you?
Are you on the TikTok with the kids?
No, I'm not on TikTok,
Tick, boom?
surprisingly.
Okay, you're nowhere.
Yeah, I'm nowhere. I am off the grid. No one can find me.
Your
I
employer's
live in
gonna
the
love
woods.
that.
Yeah.
Right, Bob?
Exactly.
Moose, are you at Moose Grumpy? I know that. That's why I call you Moose Grumpy. So follow Moose at Moose Grumpy. Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta is at Palma Pasta. Monaris is at Monaris. Season 4 of Yes We Are Open is available now. Recycle My Electronics are at EPRA_Canada. And The Moment Lab are at The Moment Lab. I'm happy to introduce you to Matt and Jared at The Moment Lab. They're here for you. And Ridley Funeral Home, they're also here for you. They're at Ridley FH. Brad Jones at Ridley Funeral Home. Absolutely loved doing Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat when he was in high school. We did a whole episode of Life's Undertaking about it. It changed his life.
Nice. Go, 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 Mike. You know what they say.
See you all next week.
Starts, the class struggle explodes. And I play this guitar just the best that I can. Well, maybe I'm not, and maybe I am. Who gives a damn? Because everything is coming up rosy and green. Yeah, the wind is cold, but the smell of snow warms me today. And your smile is fine, and it's just like mine.